dollars available in FOB, right? So if you spend a lot of it now, and then you get to November, let's say, now you're down to half the league. But how many FAB dollars remain? Your FAB dollars are actually worth more in essence because people can't pay as much.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a little bit of a cat and mouse. I guess it depends. Like, where did he finish the first week? If he was near the bottom, then yeah, you might be desperate and you're like, I got to do anything to see. Like in our league, Jamar Chase, guy who had the second pick in our draft. Mo from first round. Moster, how you doing? But that was a tough one. So, now obviously everybody knows what Jamar Chase did in week 1. Absolutely nothing. But I don't think that's going to continue. But now in our league, because see, you can have $1,000 in FOB. It's whatever. We have $250 because it's all relative, right? On if a guy was going to spend $100 and $1,000, then you're going to spend $25 and $250, right? It's the same thing, right? It's even for everybody. But so I look at him and I'm like, I've got some good receivers, but I don't have Jamar Chase. But how much would I be willing to spend? That's the question. Okay? I don't know. I think there's going to be some guys who will spend 100 or 150 out of 250. I won't be surprised. Now, I don't know if there's a Duke in there that's going to go like 210 out of 250. That would be a little bit too much. So we'll see. What did you make of that game last night between the Bears and the Vikings? It's funny. You just see people early in the game. Oh, JJ McCarthy's terrible. It's his first start, people. Exhale a bit. Take a breath. He came on pretty well in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, I was enjoyed by it. I was a little worried after the first half that maybe we weren't going to get the most thrilling of finishes. Hit the over, which is good to see. Only the third game of the week, but yeah, I like what we saw. And the touchdown passes to Jefferson was quite nice. I thought the Aaron Jones ball at first, I thought maybe a little bit underthrown, but at the same time, he put it to the outside shoulder where it was probably a safe throw. Let Jones do the rest. Fight for another day. All in all, I enjoyed the game. I think both teams maybe have some questions. Maybe some Bears fans can hold their breath and see what happens with Caleb Williams under Ben Johnson. But it's just one game, right? Like you can't put too much stock into it. I was a little surprised of Aaron Jones' usage on the ground. They went more with Jordan Mason. He was a little more productive out there. So in the game, it makes sense. But I'm curious for the Aaron Jones fantasy owners out there, what the usage will be like going forward and what changes. But all in all, if you're a Vikings fan, you're not going to complain. Week 1, first start for JJ McCarthy, couple touchdowns, pretty efficient. All in all, not a bad game.
Yeah, first game through, you'll take. What did Jefferson finish in yards?
He had 44 yards on 4 receptions, I believe 7 targets.
Well, see, the over, wrong. I was wrong on that one for sure.
It just made too much sense though with the injuries in Chicago's backfield. Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, I look at that game, and if I'm a Vikings fan, I'm over the moon. My young guy had some rust, got better as the game went on. That's all you want from a young player. You just want to see improvement. I think we saw clear improvement as the game went on for him. So that's a good sign. The Edmonton Oilers announced their rookie camp, which will begin. Well, tomorrow officially is when it begins, but they'll be on ice on Thursday, and then they will play the Calgary Flames rookies Friday and Sunday. The forwards will have, of course, Ike Howard. You've got Matt Savoy. You'll have Clattenburg, Matt Capone, Quinn Hudson, Tommy Lafreniere, David Lewandowski, Biljami Marjala, William Nickel, Andrew O'Neill, Rhett Pitlick, Josh Szymanski. Kind of interested to see him. James Stefan and Brady Stonehouse on defense. Of course, Bo Akey would probably be the biggest name on the blue line. Damian Carfagna. You also have Jackson Adam, Hyde Davidson, Drew Krebs, Parker Von Richter, Carson Woodall. Lots of guys who are just camp invites. Like the Oilers only have 2 defensemen that are drafted. They've had quite a few of their own forwards drafted. And then in goal, you have Nathaniel Day, Samuel Janssen, Connor Unger. Those are all, 2 draft picks, free agent signing of the Oilers. And then Josh Benini, who right here from Edmonton, who plays for the Moose Jaw Warriors, will be the 4th goalie. So probably will split some time, I would think, maybe in those 2 games. You look at the amount of forwards that they have, and people are wondering, would you play Savoy and Howard in both games? Yeah, why not? I'm not one who frets about injuries that much. Now, rookies are different. Connor McDavid, is he's going to play a lot in the preseason? No. He'll probably play 2 or 3 games at the most. Right. Now, thankfully, this is the final year of 8 maximum preseason games. Next year, the max will be 4. So the Oilers are going to be cut preseason in half next year. Glory, hallelujah. The training camps are shorter. The season will begin earlier. It is a dream come true for somebody who has covered it. I'm sure for fans, many of you, if you're a season ticket holder, you're like, God, I got 4 preseason games. Seriously? Now you're only going to have 2. And that is a big, big win. Hey, Greggs, I'm curious, what are your thoughts on your nephew going to Florida? I saw he signed a PTO from Doug. Yeah, I signed that last week. I put it out there today, but you know what? Hey, good for him. You had a few organizations, obviously, PTOs that you're interested in, and you have to try to make somewhat of a decision where you look at the roster, right? There's an extra spot at least for a few months because Kachuk's hurt, and there's some rumblings that might have some other injuries in Florida from some guys from last year who might not be ready to start the season. So that helps. And then you also look at they don't have any. The last first round pick they had was Ike Howard, and that's Tampa. But you look at Florida, they don't have a lot of real good, high prospect players. So if you go to the American League, you're going to get to play. And I'm a firm believer he's got to play. So obviously you want to be in the NHL. I totally understand that. But I kind of look at big picture. Sometimes a step back can mean 2 steps forward. And you get confidence when you play. It's just that simple. You touch the puck more. You're in more situations. And yes, you want to be in the NHL all the time for players. I understand it. But at certain times, it can be more beneficial to be in the American League and getting a lot of playing time. Like they don't have any big name offensive forwards where they got to play this guy and they got to play in big minutes in the minors, right? They just don't, right? Like you've got like Nolan Foote, I guess, and Mackenzie Entwistle, but those are older guys. So if it doesn't work out right off the start in Florida, you can go down to Charlotte and play for the Checkers and get a lot of minutes, and then that will help you for when you do get recalled back into the NHL. So that could be a big positive. We'll see how it goes. We'll take a quick break. When we return, we will talk about the big signing next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Want some good news? St. Albert Dodge is holding the biggest sale of the year on their in-stock Ram 1500 Sports. Every single one on the lot is discounted by a whopping $14,000. Yeah, 14 grand. And St. Albert Dodge has the best selection in Alberta. Over 90 Ram 1500 Sports to choose from, with great packages, including the Night Edition and GT models, all $14,000 off the ticket price. Get down there and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. TNA Wrestling makes its explosive debut at the Expo Center on Friday, September 26th and Saturday, September 27th for back-to-back nights. Buy your tickets online today. Learn more about what's happening at the Expo Center by visiting the calendar of events online at edmontonexpocenter.com today.
I'm a little hungry.
I've got Booster Balls from Booster Juice.
Booster what now?
Booster Balls. They're little protein bites packed with nutrients. Chewy, crunchy, yummy, and new flavors all the time. Like this little guy, the new mint chocolate Booster Ball, peppermint, cocoa, coconut, peanut butter, maple syrup, all rolled up into a delightful little bite-sized snack.
Why am I just hearing about this now?
I don't know.
Can I have one?
No.
Booster Juice, Canadian born, blending since 1999.
Listen up, because you're not going to want to miss this. Right now is your chance to get in on Play Alberta's biggest offer ever. For a limited time only, new players can get up to a $1,000 casino bonus when they sign up. There's never been a better time to join the fun. Visit playalberta.ca today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada, with sports and entertainment properties including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League's Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, is open in Nisku, which features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area.
Performance by Action Electrical today. Their projects team kicks things off, designing and building with unmatched skill.
Then the service team swoops in for those crucial repairs and maintenance. And don't forget the testing team, ensuring everything's safe and sound before the solar team scores with sustainable energy.
A complete team effort. Have Action Electrical bring home a win for you and your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
It's the Brick's famous tent sale. Save up to 60% off clearance items in the tent and store, with more amazing deals arriving daily in every department. Like up to $1,800 off power reclining sectionals and up to $700 off big screen TVs. Buy more, save more when you buy 2 or more major appliances, up to $1,000 off. Plus, get a free Bluetooth party speaker when you spend $9.99 or more on furniture. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Love is a burning thing.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
2:20 on a lovely Tuesday, September 9th. Of course, MLB gets back in action for Jays fans. You have fantasy football waiver wire, the first one of the year for your team. If you're in a really, I don't like fantasy. I don't like waiver wire before the league starts. Once you do your draft, there should be no waiver wire. What the hell? Then you're doing your draft way too early. Just my thoughts on that. So you have that. Of course, rookie camps across the NHL. They'll have all their medicals and stuff, some meetings tomorrow, and then hit the ice on Thursday, and then lots of those tournaments. In the case of the Oilers, they don't have a tournament, but they are playing 2 games against Calgary Friday night in Edmonton, and then Sunday in Calgary. If you want to go, there are tickets available to go to the game on Friday night. It will be played at Rogers Place. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. As we go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical, the most diversified electrical contractor in Alberta with 4 divisions in project, service, testing, and solar. Design, build, switchgear replacements, new constructions, and renovations. They do it all at actionelectrical.net. And earlier today, the big announcement in Calgary was that the Flames have signed Dustin Wolf to a 7-year contract extension that will kick in next season to the tune of $7.5 million. He almost had an increase 10 times his salary, because this year he'll make $850K, and then he's going to jump up to $7.5 million. And I saw a lot of, hey, this means that players want to stay in Calgary. They want to be in Calgary. Well, yeah, maybe. Or it's like, this offer is too good to refuse. Are you kidding me? Like, how many goalies are making $7.5 million? Not many goalies make $7.5 million after playing only 70 games. So good for Dustin Wolf, as Ryan Pike from Flames Nation joins us to discuss it. Ryan, were you a little surprised at the AAV for young Dustin Wolf?
Honestly, not really. I think the market. The nice thing for the Flames is that, for some of these longer deals they've been doing with some of their younger players, the market's been set before they really sunk their teeth into it. So with Lucas Dostal in Anaheim, he got, I believe, 5 years at $6.5 million. Dostal, a little bit older than Wolf, about the same amount of experience. And if you look at their bodies of work, I think you could look at Dostal and go, that was a pretty good deal for what he brings to the table. But I think if, all due respect to Lucas Dostal, I think if you look at his deal and look at the deal that Dustin Wolf got, I think it's fair value for both players.
Wolf obviously had a great first year in Calgary. The Flames have basically made no offseason moves, right? Virtually none. And they had last year, their offense, I think, was 28th in the league. But they won games because they got 96 points because I think they went to overtime 24 times. And, they were good in low scoring games. Doesn't seem like it's overly repeatable. Is there a concern at all about the lack of offense?
I mean, I'd say yes and no. I think the no concern part of me is because this is a group that I think really found a way to, like, there's plenty of teams that, they have a style of play that is offense driven, and then when they can't score, they're screwed. And the best thing I can say about the Flames is they know exactly what they are. Ryan Huska, I think, looked at the roster he had available to him and devised a game plan that was suited to the skill sets he had. And so, you had a group that absolutely did their best to make every single game an absolute slog and just play a forechecking style that wears other teams down, forces them into making mistakes, and then pounces. And so that's how they were able to win so many one-goal games. I mean, they were a team that, they were in the bottom 5 of the NHL, maybe bottom 2 or 3, depending on where you look, in 5-on-5 shooting percentage. They did not generate a ton of high-octane offensive chances, nor did they finish them, but they did enough to win those close games. The part of me that thinks that they are a bit concerned looks at the changes they've made in the offseason. The most prominent one, as you mentioned, they didn't make a lot of bodies in, bodies out transactions, but the big piece of the puzzle for the Flames could be Zane Parekh next year, because Zane Parekh, back-to-back 33-goal scorer, first OHL player to do that ever, first Ontario junior player to do that since Bobby Orr, first OHL defenseman to hit 3 digits in points since Ryan Ellis did it in, I believe, 13 years ago. So this is a player the Flames think could come in, and he'll need to learn the NHL game, but if you just put him on the power play and let him loose, I think just the power play impacts of Zane Parekh could provide a gigantic net positive. And then the rest, I think they're confident the rest of his game will come along at some point. But I think for a team that absolutely figured out a way to grind out games and really embrace that, let's make the other team hate us with how much they need to battle with us to win games, I think they look at that and say, you take that team, you add Zane Parekh, maybe Matt Coronado has a bit more swagger to his game coming off of his first full season in the NHL. Connor Zary, maybe he stays healthy. I think they look at in the aggregate, the little bits of movement and improvement that their young players can still make, and I think they're pretty happy with the group.
You look like last year Jonathan Hubert had a real bounce back year. You mentioned kind of how they played. He was reliable, was killing penalties and all that stuff. Him and Kadri, though, were still both like -17, -13, 5-on-5. And a lot of that's just simply due to their inability as a team really to score that many goals. And I understand that they know what they are, but is there talk about them trying to find ways to generate more offense this year?
I think they're going to try to. I think the power play itself will be better because I think they have a better idea of which guys should be on there. I think 2 years ago, the Flames had one of the worst power plays in hockey. Last year, they went from being very bad to being merely poor. I think if they want to be a playoff team, you have to find a way into the top half of the league or the top 10 in the league. Their penalty kill last year was very good down the stretch. 5-on-5, very good defensively, but yeah, they're a group that is going to really be, even with the improvements I mentioned they could potentially make, they're going to be offensively starved. But I also think they're a group that I think they're hesitant to open up too much because, just the way the team is built, they're not built to be a run and gun team. I think we've seen plenty of teams play run and gun and have some success, and then they hit a wall in the playoffs because you can't play like that in the postseason. And I think the Flames, as they try to build this thing, I think they have a style of play that's well suited to a team that lacks elite level offensive talent. But I also think they feel like it's a group that when they get into the postseason, that style of play could be replicable in a way that a run and gun style might not be able to.
Ryan Pike joins us. Piker, looking at the Rasmus Andersson situation in Calgary, what's the latest on it? What do you think happens? Does he re-sign in Calgary? Do you think ultimately he gets moved?
Well, I'll say this. Rasmus Andersson has been a delight to cover. I've covered his entire NHL career. He's always brutally honest about himself, about the team, about everything. And I think the challenge for him is he's really smart. And I think he would be a player that, based on market value, should be making somewhere north of $8 million in a long-term deal going forward, based on what he's done in his career and his player arc. All due respect to the player, I don't think the Flames are going to be in a position to give him what he probably should be making on the open market. And it's nobody's fault. It's just the way his career has gone. He's simply just going to not be something the Flames can afford to commit to. And especially if you look at, say, Mackenzie Weegar, his deal is much more team friendly. You're going to have to fit in, Zane Parekh this year going forward, potentially Hunter Brustovich or Henry Muse, amongst the many other defensive prospects they have. So I think Andersson sort of sees the writing on the wall. He's very alert. He's very smart. And I think he probably realizes, okay, this probably isn't going to work out for me here. But I'll say this. I think he's going to handle it the right way. He showed up to the golf tournament today and said all the right things, talking about how, he's not the first guy to go into the last year of a contract and, be playing on a team. He won't be the last guy. And I think for him, the fact that he has been such a big part of the team and what they've been trying to build here. He is a member of the leadership group. He wears an A. He's, outside of Michael Backlund, he's the longest serving member of the leadership group. And I think, there's always been discussion of, what's going to go on with him? He's going to be traded. I'd be shocked if he re-signs with the Flames simply because of the economics of it all. But I also think the Flames have a price in mind for what they want to get for him. I think it'll unfold fairly similarly to what happened with Elias Lindholm a couple years ago, where the Flames have a very clear idea of what the price they want to get back for him is, and they're not going to push him out the door necessarily. They have too much respect for the player, and I think they have too much of an awareness of how important he is for the team. But I also think, if you're thinking out loud, you have the benefit of having potentially 2-3 months of Zane Parekh being mentored and sheltered, having a Rasmus Andersson on your team. And then by midseason, maybe Parekh is used to the NHL. Maybe it'll be like it was last year for Dustin Wolf, where you have Dan Vladar to shelter him in the first half, and then second half of the year, you take the training wheels off and let him loose. So the Flames might have that ability, but I would be very, very surprised if we see Rasmus Andersson playing games for the Flames in the 2026 side of the calendar.
Ryan Pike Jones. Now, you mentioned Zane Parekh. I know there's talk the NHL is trying to get a deal with the CHL, so they would approve to have one 19-year-old play in the American League. Obviously, if that was the case, then Parekh would be, I think, the clear option for them potentially to do it, right? I don't see anybody else they would consider, to have a 19-year-old in the NHL and then another one in the AHL. Like, the NHL is hard enough, and the AHL is no joke either. Do you like Parekh? I know he had an unreal year last year, 107 points for Saginaw. All right, had 96 the year before that. So he's obviously offensively he can play. If I look at their blue line, like if you were projecting, where would you project Parekh? Who would he play with?
I'm gonna say I would probably shape it out like this. I'd probably do assuming that Andersson is around for a little while, I would do my 3 pairings would be Joel Hanley and Mackenzie Weegar, Kevin Ball with Rasmus Andersson, and then I'd probably have Parekh on the 3rd pair with Braden Pahal. You have a mixture of guys that can play that sort of stay-at-home defense role with more offensive-minded guys, and then you'd be able to, especially with those other 2 pairings, really find ways to give Parekh some offensive zone high ground. And he's also somebody that's going to factor in a major way, I think, for special teams. He'll be all over the power play. I wouldn't be shocked if he's sort of the first unit quarterback within the first month of the season, because he has those kind of offensive bona fides. I think, though, you'll want to shelter him a bit from really being thrown to the wolves, so to speak, against the best and brightest. He has 1 NHL game under his belt, and he was really, really good in that game. But it was also game 82 against a playoff-bound team that wasn't really suiting up their best and brightest. So, but I think they have some high expectations for him. But I also think, the nice thing for the Flames is they've had those experiences with Zari, Pospisil, Coronado, Wolf. They've brought in some of these young guys and seen how they adjusted and seen what some of the friction points are. And I think, they have a deep enough roster that they can shelter guys if they need to.
Well, you look at their power play, and hey, if you have an offensive guy, like, that's the place to play him, right? Like, it does. I don't care how old he is. If he can run a power play, he can run a power play. It doesn't really matter. It will come down to then you shelter maybe in 3rd pair minutes 5-on-5. That would be a very smart thing to do. You look at Andersson now. I know he has a 6-team. No, so that means there's only 6 teams he'll approve a trade to, or there's only 6 teams he can't be traded
to. 6 teams that he can say no to.
6 teams. Oh, okay. So basically, they could move him almost anywhere, right? Like there's not a lot of roadblocks that will be put up by the player in that sense. And the other thing is, with the new salary cap rules, Ryan, you look at his cap hit, he becomes infinitely more attractive because he has a great cap hit now that there's the new salary cap and the different rules on retention and what it might mean come playoff time, all those sorts of things, that at $4.55 million, he's a really attractive player.
And if they retain half, I mean, you're getting someone that can play 30 minutes a night in every game situation for less than $2.5 million. Like, you're not going to find that anywhere.
No, that would be definitely, without question, one of the better contracts. Do you see, outside of Zane Parekh, do you see anybody else who's new who could push for a roster spot in Calgary?
Oh goodness. I mean, there's a few guys I think will surprise some folks. I mentioned Hunter Brustovich, who came in from the Canucks in the Lindholm trade. He went pro last year and quietly had a really, really good season. He's another offensive-minded guy. He was the year that Parekh had 96 points in the OHL. This guy had, I think, 92. So he's very, very good. Needed to learn the game away from the puck a bit. Really came a long way, and I think he'll push. But I think the challenge is the Flames have so many right shot defensemen that it'd be tough to sort of bring in another one. Yan Kuznetsov had a really good year with the Wranglers. He'd be another one. Ilya Solovyov up front. There's a few guys that I think could make some noise. Sam Honzik started the year with the NHL group last year. Rory Cairns was a really big surprise last year offensively for the Flames. He was a guy that was heading into his 3rd year of his entry-level deal, and I don't think people really expected him to be qualified in terms of, that's how poorly his first couple years went. And then he managed to be the leading scorer for the Wranglers last year. So he'll be in the mix. I think there's probably a half dozen guys with the Wranglers that I think will get really long looks, but the Flames have about 11 forwards I think are no doubt opening night guys, and then probably another 2 or 3 spots available for maybe 6 or 7 guys to battle over. The blue line, I think we're going to see a pretty competitive camp, and I think the big question is, if Zane Parekh is taking a job, whose job is he taking? Because if I'm Jake Bean or Danil Miramanov, I am not feeling comfortable in my NHL spot right now. And, with that push from below, especially with how many young, good defensemen the Flames have in their system, I think we could see a really interesting camp from that perspective.
Ryan Pike joins us from Flames Nation. Lastly, Piker, what's the ETA? Is it next season for the new arena or the year after?
2 more years in the Dome. So October 2027 will be the first regular season game in the new building. But yeah, it's the fun thing is, it's gone from being, hopes and dreams to being a big pit to being something that they the foundation's mostly done. I think they've done most of the concrete pours on a couple levels below ground. And for folks coming to games, I know, the Flames and the Oilers be playing a game here next Sunday, actually this coming Sunday, an afternoon game. So any Flames or Oilers fans heading down there, you're going to go past the pit that has a lot of stuff going on in it. And, I think we're pretty close to seeing things reach ground level and then start poking up. So it's going to start looking like an actual building pretty quick. And it's been a long time coming. And I think people are going to be pretty excited to see, how quickly it turns into something that resembles an arena.
What is the most attractive thing for the new facility that makes it stand out? Like, obviously it's not going to have a sagged roof. It's going to be different shape than the Saddledome, obviously. But what's the marquee feature for it?
For fans or for players?
Fans.
Anyone who's been to the Saddledome knows that it basically has one big main concourse, and then sort of the mezzanine concourses are sort of, they have some stuff in them, but if you want to go to the bathroom or get a good plate of nachos, you have to go all the way down. They're going to have 2 basically full concourses. So, if you're sitting up in the 200 level, you don't have to, put on your hiking boots and go all the way down to use the bathroom or to get the food option you want. They're basically going to have 2 full concourses in addition to all the other things. So, I think they've learned a lot of lessons. The marquee feature that the folks that who designed the building were touting when we went to City Hall in December to grill them was twice as many bathrooms. So if you're someone that just does not like bathroom lines, they're going to have twice as many bathrooms in the new building as they do in the Saddledome. And I think just that feature for quality of life will have everyone a lot happier.
It is fair. That might be the longest lines in the league. I don't think there's much question about that. So, but now it was built back, many moons ago. So I understand it for sure. So 2 more years. It'll be interesting to see. We will see the Flames and the Oilers rookies in Edmonton Friday and then in Calgary on set. Now is Parrott going to play in the rookie tournament?
He's on the roster. He was pulled from the World Junior Summer Showcase because he was nursing a little minor nagging injury. So the Flames are going to check that out in the coming days just to make sure he's up and running. So the short answer is we'll probably know Thursday when they hit the ice for the first practice sessions. But he is on the roster.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, man. We'll talk to you again soon, Piker. Have a good one.
Yeah, take care.
There you go. That's Ryan Pike from Flames Nation. I look at the Flames and I think it's going to be hard for them to match 96 points. Simply because they really made no roster changes. Now, Zane Parrott, that's one. And if he's able to help their power play, now their power play wasn't awful. It was 21%, right? So it wasn't horrendous by any stretch of imagination. I think it was 16th. It was kind of like average, right in the middle of the pack. So it could improve a bit. But their 5-on-5 scoring was their major issue, right? And they were able to keep games close. And they got to overtime in 24 games. 24. So, obviously they're going to want to play that again. But to me, they're going to have to find a way to score more 5-on-5, right? Because they were, 30th in the NHL last year? Only Ottawa and Nashville scored fewer 5-on-5 goals than the Calgary Flames, who had 140. And to compare that, you look at the top team, like 60 goals more. 10, 15, if they jump up 15 goals, then they'd be up to 22nd. So it's improvement, but are they going to improve by 20 goals, 5-on-5? They do, then they're still only 18th. So they got a ways to go. And 5-on-5 defensively, they were good. I agree with what Ryan said about their system. You play your system to your roster. They don't have a lot of high-end offensive guys. Huberdeau had a good year. He's never going to live up to his contract, right? Nazem Kadri had a very good year. What is he, 35 goal scorer again? So it's solid, but I think the Flames will be in tough to match their 96 points from last year. 243, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, as well as Sports 1440. Check it out. Be sure to hit the subscribe button at our YouTube channel. We had a very good day yesterday. We'd like to keep that rolling. So it takes 2 seconds. Just go to YouTube and look up Sports 1440. We would very much Appreciate it. Take a quick break. We'll return to the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
It all started in 2006.
The year Twitter was founded.
Google bought YouTube.
We played Wii Sports.
And On the Rocks opened, changing Jasper Avenue forever.
Celebrate 19 years of OTR on September 19th.
Featuring Edmonton's own The Royal Foundry.
With party band Kerr,
DJ Deadly Nedley and DJ Kenny K.
Edmonton's biggest party started in 06 and is still rocking harder than ever.
See you September 19th.
And On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave and 118th.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at ewell.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass. It's happened again, and construction season is in full swing. Job delayed, money lost, and clients disappointed because your rigging failed and it wasn't inspected. Don't let this happen to you. Have your lifting slings, fittings, hoisting tools, and safety harnesses checked with Titan Supply. Titan Supply offers certified on-site and in-house rigging inspections and service, so they can repair it, replace it, and recertify it. Titan Supply in Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary, and at titansupply.ca. Lift, dig, haul.
It takes grit. It takes heart. It's the legendary Canadian Finals Rodeo, powered by ATV. From October 1st to 4th in Edmonton, the nation's best go head-to-head in a battle of pure willpower. Witness the raw strength and adrenaline at Rogers Place. Plus, soak up the Western lifestyle at the Canadian Country Expo, with free admission and shuttles running between the expo and the arena. This is more than a rodeo. It's a showdown. Get your tickets now at CFR.ca.
There's something we need to talk about: debt. It's an uncomfortable topic, but the truth is, most of us carry some form of debt, and we are ashamed to talk about it. My name is Parveen Middleton, a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. Every day, people struggling with debt come to me for a solution. When you make that call, I'll listen to your story without judgment and will lead you to a debt-free future. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to learn more.
Imagine a busy classroom. Now imagine it if no one was willing to teach. Here's the reality. It's getting harder to keep teachers in the profession and to attract new people to an increasingly challenging job. Pay for teachers has fallen far behind inflation and cost of living. With fair wages, we can keep the ones we have and hire more. But we need the provincial government to step up. Because a fair deal for teachers is a good deal for kids. A message from the Alberta Teachers Association.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. On the Rocks is celebrating 19 incredible years at their iconic location and want to celebrate with you. Join them September 19th for an incredible night of live music and so much more at ontherocksyeg.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Day afternoon, Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Get in the game. Use the promo code Gregor50. You'll get a free $50 play when you make a $50 donation. Use the promo code Gregor50. Do it as often as you like. PlayAlberta.ca. Basically 2 for 1 all the time. It's a great deal. And hey, speaking of a great deal, how about Canada? 2 games against top 50 nations, both on the road in Europe, and they don't surrender a goal in either match. So pretty solid by the red and white Canadian men's soccer team as they defeat Wales today by a score of 1-0. We are going to talk the North American style of football coming up here right away as we get to our football report, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit or your furnace. Plan ahead, legacyheating.ca. Dave Naylor is going to join us. We're going to talk a little NFL and CFL as the first week of the NFL season wrapped up last night. Minnesota getting a victory. And the CFL, of course, continues on. We're entering the final third of the season and some great playoff races. Winnipeg 1 game up on Edmonton and BC. Montreal's only 1 game up on Ottawa and Toronto. And Edmonton and BC are both 1 game up on Ottawa and Toronto for the crossover. So you kind of got 6 teams in the mix for the final 3 playoff spots. Winnipeg's in Hamilton this weekend. Ottawa's on the road in BC. Edmonton, Toronto, big game. And then Montreal is in Saskatchewan. The Stampeders, who are pretty comfortable, they're going to make the playoffs, likely going to have a home game. They have the bye week this week, as Dave Naylor from CFL on TSN also was in Buffalo for, man, it was a game of the week easy. That might be the game of the year, Dave. It's going to be hard for any Sunday night game to match that one between the Bills and the Ravens.
Yeah, when they programmed that game as the opening Sunday nighter and they wanted a good lid lifter, they got it. As you say, though, it's going to be hard for anything else to match up that. I must say that years and years and years, of course, covering Canadian football are good training for a game like that, an ending like that. Not as common in the NFL, but it was one of those things, honestly, as an assignment. I'm a former newspaper guy. So when I used to cover games for the Globe and Mail, you get games that you'd write, 80% of your story sometimes, and then the game would flip in the final 6 minutes and you had to throw everything out. It was like that. Everything that was in my head to talk about on the field with Jay Onright live, 15 minutes after the game is over, I had to flush because none of it was relevant, or not as relevant as it had been before all that happened. And it was really, in the moment, it was honestly really hard to process what exactly had happened. But essentially, the Bills played a very conservative style in the first half because games between the Bills and the Ravens historically have been decided by turnovers. They didn't turn the ball over. And, when it became a 2-score game, they unleashed Josh Allen. And the 2 things they needed from their defense were a turnover and a stop. And they got those 2 things on the Ravens' final 2 possessions. And, man, what a night in Orchard Park. It was unlike, again, I've been doing this a long time, just the mood and the vibe and the feel. That was a special night, no question.
Now, I do want to get your thoughts, Dave, to wrap up the NFL. Was last night's game, because it obviously wasn't close to the Sunday nighter by any stretch, but the Chicago Bears run game was atrocious, horrendous, right? Like, I had like a 17.6% success rate on runs, which is like the lowest by far in week 1. What did you make of the new coach? I know that, there's not a lot of reps from your number 1 unit in preseason and everything, but what did you make of the Bears, which at times looked like a fiasco offensively?
Yeah, and it's funny because his former team had an astoundingly bad day running the ball as well. Of course, people following Ben Johnson, the Chicago Bears head coach, was the offensive coordinator in Detroit, a very highly sought after coordinator who kind of waited for the right opportunity on that one. So, Jahmyr Gibbs got stuffed, and then the Bears offense got stuffed. I think anytime you've got here's a couple things. One is Ben Johnson is not an ordinary first-year coach because of all the accolades that were laid at his feet in Detroit. And the Bears are not an ordinary team that just hired a first-year coach because they already have their first overall pick quarterback in the fold. They've got a roster that should be competitive. I would say people thought it should be competitive a year ago. They have Roma Dunze. Players who have had a year under their belt or 2, so they should be further along the development curve. So when you see them stuff like that, it does draw the attention. I think you have to just remember that this is still a first game, with new personnel, with new, with everything being new. So, we jokingly call week number 1 overreaction, and there are a ton of them from week number 1 this week. That would be one of them. And I think that rankles Bears fans because as much as they would love to have an elite quarterback, which essentially they've never had in their franchise history, this is still a team that in its DNA is about running the ball and playing defense. And when they can't do either of those 2 things, Bears fans don't react very well. Running the ball in week number 1, not their specialty. But I think, especially with new head coaches, I think you kind of got to give them, a month or so till you kind of realize what they're all about, what their teams can do and what they can't.
Dave Naylor joins us. Dave, let's switch to the CFL. And to me, it's the biggest win in franchise history in almost a decade for the Green and Gold. It's definitely the biggest win under the Elks name for sure for Edmonton. Biggest crowd they've had in a while against Calgary. And, Rankin continues to dominate. Their defense after the first two series really held a good offense in check, as Vernon Adams only completed 47% of his passes after the first two series, where he was 4 for 6. After that, he was only 11 of 23. They didn't give up a ton of big plays. What'd you make of the Green and Gold, and specifically their D-line getting 4 sacks after having only 6 sacks for the first 11 games for defensive linemen? And they did it without Serezna and without Smith. They're 2 big free agent signings.
Yeah, it's puzzling because it doesn't make sense, just like it didn't make sense how absolutely putrid they were through the first 6 weeks of the season. I remember the week before they played Saskatchewan, and I was breaking down the metrics on their defense. And I may have told you this on an earlier appearance on your program, but honest to God, I don't know that I'd ever seen a defense that was statistically that bad ever. And I know that, and the frustrating thing about it from an Edmonton perspective is, they're not that bad. The personnel on defense is not bad. These are all guys that have been proven elsewhere. A lot of them, as you say, some of the highest paid defensive players in the league. And yet all of a sudden, I think it's been since that bye week. One of the things that during the bye week, because the quarterback switch was made, I think there's been a ton of, attention and discussion around that, as anytime a team sits at season opening starting quarterback and goes to somebody else, that's going to be the major storyline. And you can certainly see the uptick in the offense. I think what wasn't as talked about is the fact there was a lot of attention to what in the world is going on with our defense during that week as well. And if you look at the way the defense has performed, even with the omissions, as you mentioned, and those are significant omissions, especially Jake Serezna. Maybe the best defensive lineman in the league over the last 5 years or so. We're certainly in that conversation. I think there were adjustments made and reconsiderations made during that week that have really paid dividends week after week after week as that defense has continued to play and give them the support that they have. The other part of it, I think, probably plays in is the offense is on the field longer. With Trey Ford, it was kind of boom or bust, right? They were either going 2 and out, or he was, throwing a bomb down the field and making a spectacular play. But you weren't seeing 8, 10, 12 play drives like you're seeing with Cody Fajardo, who gets the ball out quickly, right? He's not necessarily a big arm, big play guy, although he can do that. But what he can do is make quick decisions with the football, make the right decision with the football, keep the offense on schedule. And one of the things that does is keeps your defense on the sideline. And I think they're getting dividends out of that as well.
So you look at it, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are 6-6, and their quarterback, who knows if he's going to play again this year? Who knows if he's going to play again? I know Milt Stegall said, maybe he should shut it down with all the concussions he's had in his career. The Elks and the Lions are 5-7, so they're currently ahead of Toronto and Ottawa on the crossover, and you have to remain ahead of them to get the crossover. You look at these 6 teams for 3 positions, Dave, it's pretty wide open. It should be an exciting final third of the season.
Yeah, and I don't speak for my network, but I'm sure the people who run TSN are happy that there's all meaningful games after Labor Day. Really, that's one of the dilemmas, I think, in the CFL, where you've got only 4 games a week sometimes, is that you get past Labor Day, on average, maybe 1 game a week doesn't really matter. Then you get into October, sometimes 2 games a week doesn't really matter. Well, you look at the schedule right now, you show me the game that doesn't matter. There isn't one. And there's not one really going to be one, I don't think, through the month of September. And that's a great thing for CFL fans, a great thing for our network, a great thing for everybody associated with the game. And it's kind of jarring to look at those standings and try to make sense of them, because it is, sometimes parity in sports is maybe a little bit too loosely thrown around, but you look at this season, when you just look at the fact that the BC Lions and the Edmonton Elks have the same record, and if you take out the head-to-head in those games, the Elks have a better record than the BC Lions. And so it's, that seemed to have happened very quickly, in terms of where we were 3-4 weeks ago. And then even, I think there are teams that we've been trying to, I don't want to say write off, but we've looked at and thought, they look like they're ripe to be kind of buried here at some point this season. I thought Winnipeg at certain points this season looked that way. Ottawa may have looked that way until the third quarter the other night, when the Dustin comeback happens and, they come back on BC in spectacular fashion. So, and the Argonauts, those are, you look at teams that early in the season looked like they just didn't have it this year. Toronto, Edmonton, Ottawa, and they're all coming off wins. And in the case of Edmonton and Ottawa and Toronto, it's been multiple wins. So, yeah, I think this is spectacular for the league. But if you ask me who's coming out for those 3 playoff spots with 6 teams right now, I couldn't tell you. BC is the one that really puzzles me because they're so talented on offense, and yet they gave up 52 to Toronto 2 weeks ago, and then they end up giving up a whole bunch in the final quarter or so to Ottawa to let that slip away. I still think they're a dangerous team because of how talented they are on offense, but they obviously got to get some things figured out on the other side of the ball.
Yeah, well, I look at, what are you hearing in Winnipeg about the quarterback, Zach Collaros?
I'm hearing that I would not rule him out or rule him in. Like I'm certainly not hearing that he's not going to play this week. That's not at all. So I think we're still early on here, but it would not completely shock me if he played this week. But I'm going just sort of on what I'm hearing, but that's that's very sort of tentative information. I wouldn't want anybody to take and run with that. But and from what I understand right now, he's not being ruled out.
Okay, interesting stuff. Dave, when you look at the Lions, like that was a brutal loss. They should have won that game against Ottawa. It was a great comeback by Crum, but I'm sure the Lions are kind of kicking themselves. To me, they're the most interesting team in the league because they should be better than the record. And I'm perplexed why they have a 2 steps forward and then they take a big step back and then they go forward and then they go back. What do you make of the Lions?
It's funny because I was on the panel for their game here in Toronto, and I kind of remember what I said at halftime. I said something to the effect that this is at that point it was kind of an exchange of possessions game, and I said that's a really dangerous game for Toronto to play with BC because Toronto, especially in the first half, Nick Arbuckle was throwing the ball short. They didn't have DeMonte Coxey. And the Argonauts just effectively for the most of the season have had no run game. So they're basically playing, their offense was playing, short and medium pass games. That was essentially it. And I said, the Lions can run the ball. They can throw the ball to their running back. They can play the short to medium passing game, and they got the deep ball. So they've got, sort of 3.5 dimensions to their offense, and the Argos have 1. And if you're playing a game like that where you're exchanging possessions, the team that's multidimensional is going to win. Well, after halftime, Nick Arbuckle morphed into the greatest deep passer the CFL has ever seen. And all of a sudden they put up 52 and, their defense gave up a lot. It was a very good offensive day for BC as well. But to see that many deep throws against the defense in a half of football, and maybe it was like Nick Arbuckle only made 1 deep throw in the first half. And maybe it was the classic, we're going to throw it near the line of scrimmage or the first 10 yards for a whole half. And we're going to invite them up to the line of scrimmage and try to defend us that way. And then we're going to throw it deep. It may have been that simple, but it certainly was, shocking to see that. And again, I think BC is the most offensively talented team in the league. I think Nathan Rourke had a very good year. I think he could still win the league's outstanding player. I mean, when you've got Justin McInnes, when you've got Keon Hatcher, James Butler has had a good season, but they just can't outpace their defense right now. So that's going to be the dilemma for them. But I find them, I've said really for the last few weeks, they are the team, I think, who are better than their record. And yet, they've now dropped 2 in a row.
And it's a big if they make the playoffs, would Rankin get some votes for you for MOP?
It's funny because I think he would because of, and I'd have to look at it if I was sitting down to vote and try to figure out what percentage of their offense has he been involved in. And by that, because he is the guy who can give you the yards after catch out of the backfield and obviously, yards from scrimmage on the run game as well. And that's where I think you can elevate running back. Look, it's hard to make this not a quarterback award. And we've seen that, lots of evidence of that, although Brady Oliveira won it last year. But where I think a running back can get into the conversation is where he's a running back and a receiver. And you're talking about a very large percentage of their offense that runs through him. And that would fit the definition of Justin Rankin at this point. Now, I haven't looked at the numbers, but if I was asked to vote today, that's one of the things I would look at. And if I believe that he was responsible for a large enough portion of their offense to justify that, and on the surface, I would say he is, then I certainly would give him consideration for that. And again, you have to look at what got this team off the mat. He's a huge part of it. And it is the most outstanding player, not the most valuable player. So maybe he might be a little better suited to an MVP award than an MOP award, but I think he's certainly in the conversation.
Yeah, it is interesting. He leads the Elks in receiving yards with 533, and then he's fourth, which we could argue now. Stephen Dunbar being hurt has a big reason why, but
right.
I know because it was brought up in Edmonton, and my initial reaction was, man, I really like Rankin's season, but he's got like 1,100 yards combined between rushing and receiving, and that's good. But they've got 3,000 passing yards, so just alone. So that doesn't even include the running yards. So when I look at their total offense, I'm like, I don't. Me personally, I think Elks fans are loving him. Like, he's an exciting player, but I don't think he's MOP worthy.
No, I say like it would take a deep dive to kind of make that case, and it might take a little more runway here, right? With a lot of season to go, and I think that's one of the things when you look at MVP or MOP at this stage of the season. A lot of times, we look at it and say, not who would you pick today, but who do you think's in the conversation? Because there's just still so much football to play. And Brady Oliveira last year, I don't know if you remember, Brady Oliveira, I believe, was it about this time of year last year, was a 60-1 shot to be the league's MOP. Just because of the way, remember Winnipeg getting off the 0-4 start. He was injured. I don't think he even dressed the first couple of games. Just didn't look like the guy that he had been. So I think that's just a reminder about how this can be an award that is really won over the final third of the season. You just got to get yourself into the conversation through the first 2/3.
Great stuff, Dave. Really appreciate you joining us on short notice. Have yourself a wonderful day.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, man.
There you go. That's Dave Naylor from TSN. I know Elks fans, you're fired up about Rankin, but I don't see how I would put him in the MOP conversation just yet. We'll take a quick break. Let's get to the Con Man and the Sports 1440 update brought to you by 01 Hockeyology. Training that improves your game all year round. You got AI-driven treadmills, full ice drills, small area drills working on shooting skills, specific goaltending, and more. Sign up at 01.ca, ZERONE.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
NHL Deputy Commissioner Bill Daly told reporters that the league has closed its investigation into Evander Kane spending last season on the LTIR before returning to the playoffs with the Oilers. With that, Daly said the Oilers will not face discipline as a result. Major League Baseball is in action, kicking off a series against the Astros just after 5 o'clock. You also the Yankees and the Tigers. Marlins meet the Nationals, Royals, and Guardians. Rangers host the Brewers. Mariners taking on the Cards, and it's the Rockies in LA for a meeting with the Dodgers. Toronto Blue Jays star shortstop Bo Bichette placed in the 10-day IL retroactive September 7th with a left knee sprain. The team has also recalled outfielder Joey Loperfido from AAA Buffalo. In the CFL, Toronto Argonauts head coach Ryan Dinwiddie said at practice that Nick Arbuckle will start this weekend against the Elks. Chad Kelly has been activated off the 6-game IL, but it is unclear if he will stress in this contest. And the Canadian men's soccer team defeated Wales 1-0 in an international friendly earlier today in Swansea. Derek Cornelius scoring the lone goal in the 41st minute on a free kick just outside the 18-yard box. And in the WNBA tonight, a busy one. Liberty hosts the Mystics, Lynx in Indiana. Aces take on the Sky, Sparks and Mercury, and the Storm host the Valkyries. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll hear from former NHLer Terry Ryan, also Dave McCarthy of Sirius XM NHL, and we'll hear another 2-minute warning with Cam Tate. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts,
everything that was in my head.
Yeah. When you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
$1 plus tax for a smooth, small premium roast coffee at McDonald's? That means rich, full-bodied flavor at a price that's just as satisfying. Must be McCafe. Enjoy a small McCafe premium roast coffee for just $1 plus tax at participating McDonald's in Canada. Prices exclude delivery.
At Fountain Tire, get up to 25% off select tires.
Good afternoon. How are you?
And for select Goodyear tires and $50 off $150
and
service
welcome
until October 18th. Restrictions apply. Book today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Silent Rides.
On a lovely Tuesday.
With state-of-the-art motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation.
Jason
Our
Gregor Show,
seatbelted
presented by
buses
Play
have
Alberta.
become the preferred carrier.
Hey, get in the game.
Tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, call 1-877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
Action Electrical's projects team takes the field, folks, ready to execute the entire play for new commercial builds.
Absolutely. They're masters of design, build, sketching strategy from initial blueprints to core electrical infrastructure. The team never misses on complex projects.
Known for handling big league constructions and major renovations, ensuring flawless execution, hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. What's the best way to beat the tariffs? By Canadian. Cantork's products are not only made in Canada, but right here in Edmonton. Save money, support Canada at cantork.com.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We roll through Tuesday afternoon. We're got a few more minutes before the kids get out of school. If you're a parent, enjoy the calm before the joyfulness returns. Sometimes loud, but always fun. Pretty fired up. I guess unless they're maybe in that moody teenage years, It's always good when we've all been there. Smile, nod head. That's about it. An endless, bottomless pit of eating. It's pretty much no one there, so it's good. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. You can text us in our eWell inbox. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where better odds in MLB and NFL, of course, when the NHL returns as well, and new and improved on the app. It's easy to find whatever you like at PlayAlberta.ca. We're live, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, as well as our YouTube, Facebook, and X. So thanks for watching. Thanks for joining. Very much appreciate it. As we welcome to the show, it's Tuesday, so that means Terry Ryan, former first pick in the National Hockey League, and I guess he's always still a first-round pick. Former player, that would be better. Also stars as in Shoresy as Hitch, and he's in the Newfoundland Hall of Fame, and still playing ball hockey. Joins us now. TR, how you doing?
Not bad at all. I really enjoyed the game last night, and recently you've asked me where my allegiance lies in football, because I got into it from such an outsider's angle, not having grown up with it and trying to figure out, because all my buddies, all this prop betting, and they're just miles ahead. But I figured it out. And I got the game online. I do, like I said, I bet here and there just for who's going to win the game. But last night I got pretty deep for the first time. Like I was betting on certain receptions from certain players, furthest field goal. I watched the entire game. You're taking a lot more just by osmosis, but not even trying. And I really like this JJ McCarthy fella. I figure I'm in on the ground level here. He missed last season, didn't he? The whole thing. So I could see getting behind Minnesota. And my dad played for the Fighting Saints in Minnesota so long ago, the WHA. So maybe I like what I see there, and I feel I wouldn't be I wouldn't be hitting any bandwagon there. I'm not on the coattails of any other player like Kurt Warner or someone that was in there. I feel that I can get on board with this squad.
Now, TR, do you just have like the sun on a spotlight on you right now through the windshield? I like it. It's just like you got it only. It's like you got your lighting set up perfectly just to have it on your face. The TV guy in you is coming through. It's very nice. The NFL is quite a first weekend in the NFL. Also the CFL, the Elks, huge win for them in front of a largest crowd they've had in many years. Justin Rankin with some unbelievable runs, including a 90-yarder. First time since basically you were born, TR, 1977, that you had a player for Edmonton rush for 90 yards on one touchdown run. So that was impressive. But I want to get your thoughts because I know you're a big ball guy. Bo Bichette, now it's only 10 games. They're saying it's a strain, but he's on 10-game IL. He leads the league in hit, leads the league in doubles. He's hitting .311, like does a lot of good things for the Jays. How big of a loss is this? And do you think the Jays are ultimately going to let him walk in free agency?
It's a great question. The second question, I hope they don't. I mean, I think he's as valuable as anybody in the league, and they just gave Guerrero all that money. I'm not saying he didn't deserve it, but I don't know. I would have been thinking Bo right there as well with the list of priorities. Hopefully they don't lose him, first of all. Second of all, he came back. He came back for that one game, and I thought maybe we were out of the woods. But this is not, the Blue Jays, they're 2 games up on the Yankees, really feeling that, the footsteps there. I think, is it 3 on the Red Sox, like right there, and guys going down. And the mid kind of part of the season, mid towards the ends, I mean, they really turned it on. I'm not saying they're running out of gas, but they weren't going to just keep winning 10 out of 11. So now you really need them. And, those 2 one-run games against the Yankees, at least Guerrero had 8 hits, I think, in the series. But it's not a good time to lose Bo Bichette. I don't care. It's never a good time during the year, especially the season he's had. But I don't know. Doesn't make me feel great about it, but it can, they still, the thing is, they've got a great committee there. They are deep, and it's not a one-off. They really are a deep team, but, he's a big loss.
Yeah, no question. A few other things. The rookie camps get going. I don't know if you've talked about it. I don't think they had rookie camps back when you played. Obviously, it's changed. And, now guys get their camp. They come in. It's probably better for rookies. But now, in the future, TR, I think next year, these rookie camps will be even more valuable for any rookie who thinks they got a chance to make the team. Because next year, there's only 4 preseason games, right? And it's a shorter, condensed time. You'll have to go in and you'll have to really stand out in a few games to have a chance. And the truth of the matter is, when I look at the Oilers rookie roster, there's 2 guys who have a chance to make the team. And they're not locks, but they're both got a really good chance in Howard and Savoy. But that's it. And if I went around the NHL, I bet you there might be at most 3 players on any rookie team that have a chance to make their team.
Yeah, I would probably think. And we did have rookie camps, by the way. They were usually, we go in, I remember the one year it was main camp, and then we went around as rookies and played, but there was always some sort of a rookie camp, whether it was come in the week before, maybe we'd go through our physical testing then and then play some kind of an exhibition, whether it be just games set up or a tournament. I remember in Kitchener a couple of years. So that did exist. And for the most part, I know there were a few of us, God, looking back, myself, Brad Brown, Matt Higgins, I feel we thought we had a chance to make the team of the guys that were playing, but everybody there, it was great. A lot of people getting a chance, and the Habs let us wear the jerseys, right? We weren't just like team blue. We went on and wore the Habs jerseys. It really, really gave me a bit of confidence. I'm wearing this. It's not just a joke. There were fans. They sold tickets, referees. We played the Buffalo Rookies and Rangers and yada, yada, yada over the years. But I really enjoyed those experiences. And I found as a rookie, no matter what I told myself, I just couldn't be myself immediately with Mark Recchi and Pierre Turgeon. I just found myself give the puck away to them every time. I felt if it's a 2-on-1, I honestly, there was no way I was shooting it with Mark Recchi there. There's no way. And so that would get in my head a little bit. I mean, talking real young, now 18, 19, 20. And, but then to wear the Habs jersey and then to go down and play with the rookies, I felt like a bit of a leader, right? And then, all these guys, you do the math, or you're going to grow with them within the organization or elsewhere. You're going to become pros. You're going to go through that coming of age kind of thing as a hockey player together. So for me, I love them. I thrived on them. And even when I was American League vet, I still asked to go back. No joke. And when I went to Dallas camp, I asked to go. And I had 3 years in the American League under my belt. but I really enjoyed those experiences, and it helped me settle down, and it happened before actual main camp. And without that, I don't think I would have made such an easy adjustment.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Terry Ryan joined us. What did you make, TR, of now? I don't recall, and I know that the world's changed and there's way more avenues and places for people to speak, so that obviously changes it. But you have Lane Hudson's father go on a podcast, and he's all upset because his kid didn't get invited to the Olympic orientation camp. Like, I kind of like, why in your sane mind would you think that's something to say as a parent? I don't care if it's whatever level it is. It doesn't matter to me. The kid didn't get invited. So, oh my God, what are they thinking? And then, well, my kids are also Canadian. Like, if I'm Lane Hudson, I'm like, Dad, I don't want you to talk anymore. Because it's embarrassing, really, as a parent at an NHL level. It's embarrassing at any level. But my goodness, at that level, give me a break.
I honestly, it goes without saying, and the further you go back eras or decades or whatever, the less and less that would happen. I mean, I would have been mortified. Not only embarrassed in front of the coaches who are actually there. Like, do the math here. This guy's one of the best young players in the game. He's going to play there. He's going to at some point. I mean, let's not put the cart ahead of the horse. I thought maybe he was going to get invited too. I was surprised he didn't. But it's not time to pipe up as a relative and point out why and what your options might be to move around and do it again, to move countries. What are we talking about? And the worst of it, outside of the embarrassment, he's not a big guy anyway. Yeah. If I'm another player on another team, I'm roasting him. It gives a reason. If I'm a big player like Tom Wilson in the same conference, I'm running him over. And all I'm saying is, what are you going to get Daddy to come? Is your daddy going to get in on I wouldn't stop. And I'm sure half the league is not going to stop. And he's going to have to now add a whole other point of mental anguish and anxiety. He's going to have to deal with that. You might laugh, people listening. I'm telling you right now, it's a wheelhouse comment that people are going to make to him because Daddy went on a podcast. And I mean,
oh yeah,
it seems like a great family. It really does. Like everything I read, everything I've heard, these guys are great qualities. They get there for a reason. I got no reason to think they weren't brought up great. I got no reason to think the dad's not a good person that meant well, but that was the wrong move.
Oh God, totally. And I'll tell you, opposing players are going to be all over that. You're always looking for a small thing. Like, I remember when Burroughs and Kessler spoke about how they would read the media guide to find out little details about the opposing players just to try to get them off their game. Well, that is the easiest one out. You don't have to do any research. Take it 2 seconds. And that's one that'll be all over it. Right. And some guys don't get bothered by anything that's said. And I understand that, but you're giving players ammunition that's unnecessary. And I think it's a great reminder for parents that yes, you love your child and always ask yourself, is this going to help them? Is me going to complain to the coach?
Exactly.
Is me going to complain to the president of association? Oh, my son didn't make this team. My daughter didn't make this. They didn't make the team. It doesn't mean their career's over. Stop it. I'm flabbergasted by this. And it just shows you that it happens at any level and that people at times they get delusional, right? Like, you love your kid so much, you get blinded by it. And you just, I think they're way better. Well, they're better than, this kid. I'm like, hey, if your kid was that good and that dominant, they would have made the team, no questions asked. That's just a fact. And then if they don't at a young age make the AAA team or the AA team or tier, whatever the tier is, whatever the team is, then let them play at the tier lower and gain confidence and dominate and have a great year. Like, stop it. It's funny how this happens. And we've seen more of that. And, I've heard some stories about Marner's dad, who's a lunatic. And, if he just as a crazy hockey parent, even at the high level. And it's kind of amazing to me how it still happens. Like, man, you're a grown man. I'd be telling my dad, zip it. Now, my dad never said boo ever at any sporting event ever to anybody, right? Including myself. He never complained in the car. He was always positive. Hey, did you have fun? Did you like the game? That was about it. right? So
100%. My dad never brought it up. In fact, we wouldn't talk hockey till 2-3 hours after the game, and it was just without it because there was too many emotions. I remember him saying it when we were really young, and that was it. I never heard him open his mouth ever. Not if I needed him for advice. But don't. I'll deal with this. I'll put out the fires on my own teams. That's why I'm learning. That's what you're here for. The thing is, I found really weird about it as well is that the Olympics are 6 months away. You don't want to shoot him. Anybody, there could be injuries. He could go out and light it up off the start. It's still like a tryout. And you're going to knock the coaches and the scouts before it even starts, like half a year ahead of time. I find it wild. Like, I know there was a camp. And, clearly those players have the advantage, but there's a lot of runway here. And you're going to say that because you're upset that you didn't go to a little orientation camp 6 months ahead of the actual fact. I find it bizarre on so many levels.
Yeah, no, it's very true. Quick break. Jason Gregor, Terry Ronathy, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Will return to the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.com.
Hawaii. The warmth of a golden sunset as the waves roll in. The freshness of a waterfall. The lush scent of tropical flowers in the air.
You don't need to travel to enjoy all Hawaii has to offer. You just need to order pizza. Bring Hawaii home with the Aloha Trio, available for a limited time at Papa John's. Try our classic Hawaiian, Super Hawaiian, or Hawaiian barbecue chicken for just $19.99 each. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
It all started in 2006.
The year Twitter was founded.
Google bought YouTube.
We played Wii Sports.
It's open, changing Jasper Avenue forever.
Celebrate 19 years of OTR on September 19th.
Featuring Edmonton's own, the Royal Foundry.
Along with party band Kerr,
DJ Deadly Music, and DJ Kenny Kane.
Edmonton's biggest party started in 06 and is still rocking harder than ever.
See you September 19th.
And On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave and 118th.
$1 plus tax for a smooth, small premium roast coffee at McDonald's? That means rich, full-bodied flavor at a price that's just as satisfying. Must be McCafe. Enjoy a small McCafe premium roast coffee for just $1 plus tax at participating McDonald's in Canada. Prices exclude delivery.
The Lawnmower Hospital.
Step into fall with Husqvarna and the Lawnmower Hospital. Husqvarna has chainsaws for the homeowner, farmer, rancher, or professional, available in battery or gas-powered models. Take care of leaves quickly with the power of Husqvarna blowers. You'll find it all at the Lawnmower Hospital, and you can see the full selection at lawnmowerhosp.com.
We're more than repairs. We're more than mowers. The Lawnmower Hospital.
The ATB Classic is returning to Northern Bear Golf Club.
An international field of professionals will battle it out on their path towards the PGA Tour.
Advance tickets are $20. Upgrade your access to sit greenside in the Sports 1440 Birdie Bar. Presented by
Net proceeds go to Youth on Course to give kids age 6 to 18 access to play golf for just $5.
Come see the future stars of the PGA Tour.
The ATB Classic.
September 11th to 14th.
Get your tickets at atbclassic.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Culligan for all your residential water needs. The local water treatment company, more than just big bottles, Culligan.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.327, Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, as well as YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. And thanks once again, everybody who's on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Really appreciate it. And we got to 1,000, which opens up the first portal, and then the next one's at 2. So if we can get to that, would be fantastic. fantastic. No rush. Hey, we're not going to be greedy. Getting to 1,000 was great, but anytime you got spare time, you click on the YouTube page for Sports 1440. Just hit subscribe. It's fantastic. Now, let's get around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. And are you looking for the perfect way to start your day? Well, enjoy a small McCafe premium roast coffee for only $1 plus tax every single day. Only at McDonald's. As Dave McCarthy from Sirius XM joins us, hosting the show all week, of course, getting close to getting back to the brunch in a few weeks every Sunday. Davey, how you doing, man?
Yeah, summer's getting away from us, boys. It's not long now. Camp's next week. It's hard to believe it's about a week away.
Do the Leafs, when you look at their rookie camp, is there anybody in the rookie camp that you think has a legit shot to make their main team?
Outside of Easton Cowan, the answer is no. I thought I was getting attacked by a wasp there. Sorry. No, outside of Easton Cowan, the answer is no. So, and that's not even a guarantee that he makes the team.
Right.
He's going to have to be very good in camp. And, I think he's at the point now, this is his third NHL training camp, where it's reasonable to expect him to push his way onto the team. Quite honestly, Brad Treliving would love if he did, because they need a guy to play in a top 6, top 9 role that doesn't cost very much money, and could potentially bring something else into the fold. And I think Easton Cowan has a skill set that the Leafs don't have enough of. He's kind of a bit of a dog, spelled D-A-W-G, right? Like he hounds pucks. He's a little physical. He plays a heavier game. And he's got, obviously, ability. So they'd love him to force his way on, but he's going to have to do just that, force his way onto the team. They're not going to hand him a spot for fun. But outside of him, no, they don't have anybody who is a legitimate threat to make the team.
Well, they don't really have a lot of spaces. I was looking. Their defense core is pretty much set when Riley, Tanev, McCabe, Ekman Larson, Brandon Carlos, Simone Benoit, and then Henry Thurn, maybe Matt Benning after that. But they got 15 NHL forwards, right? And Matthews, Nylander, Matthew Nyes, Tavares, Domi, Michelli, Joshua, Roy, Camp, Yarncroc, Robertson, Lawton, McMahon, Lorenz, and Pizzetta. Right? Like they got too many forwards, right? Do you see one of those guys they look to move, or maybe there's somebody on waivers, or is there anybody injured that's not going to be ready to start the season?
Injuries, not that I'm aware of. I think everyone's going to come into camp healthy and ready to go and compete for a spot. I look at 3 guys. I look at Camp, I look at Yarncroc, and I look at Robertson as guys that may not be here when game 1 of the regular season begins. You've got up the middle of the ice right now, Matthews, you've got Tavares, you've got Nick Waugh, you've got Scott Lawton. Probably don't have room for David Camp, right? Mm-hmm. Calle Yarncroc makes a lot of money for the role that he plays. Now, in saying that, the Leafs lost Mitch Marner, who was a big part of their penalty kill. Whether or not they're interested in throwing a guy overboard in Yarncroc who can contribute in that area maybe remains to be seen, because I think they're a little concerned about how they're going to replace those minutes. Marner played a lot of minutes shorthanded. So that is something to keep an eye on. And Nick Robertson, we've talked about him throughout the summer, but he's one of these guys that, to me, still kind of projects to be a good player on a not-so-good team. Can he be a good player on a good team? And what I mean by that is, yes, he can score, but can Craig Berube trust him enough to put him on the ice often enough to score? Can he play against other teams' top forwards? I don't know the answer to that question yet. So far, Sheldon Keefe and Craig Berube, in how they have used him, their usage suggests that, no, they can't trust him. Has he improved in that area of his game? And if not, you can't play him down the lineup because he can't check, right? So then a fit is not there. So I look at him as another guy where you kind of got to see what you have, and is there a fit? And if not, is it time to move him along?
TR?
Dave, first of all, thanks for doing my podcast yesterday, Tales with TR 273B. Up now on all platforms. Thank you, my friend. It was a great chat. Now,
so much fun.
Wait a sec. Did you say 273?
Yeah, what is that?
Who the hell's 273A? Like, do you have A and B now on episodes? How's this work?
yeah, I do A and B every week. A is me just talking, like I might tell a story. I might introduce the guest. A is always solo, and my guest is always B.
Oh,
okay.
Yes, not a ranking. Not that he's, in my B category. All my guests are in the B category.
Sometimes, Terry, as you well know, the best song is on the B side of the record. So you never know, right? You never know.
Exactly the kind of answer I was looking for, my friend. Actually, I made a statement, but exactly the kind of reply. Okay. Speaking of Stanley Cup champs, Evgeny Kuznetsov. Rumor is he's coming back into the league. Have you heard where or when? And are the Leafs involved in these rumors?
I have not heard anything out of the Leafs in terms of interest in Kuznetsov. It would be interesting, though, because he's a guy that has shown the ability to score at an elite pace. The problem, again, with him is he can be, at times, a little bit, I guess the word would be erratic, less trustworthy, a bit of a wild card. Hasn't played in the league now in a couple of years. And so you come back in and there's that level of uncertainty as well. It depends what he wants to be paid in order to come back. If he's willing to take a low money deal on a 1-year term, I'd be willing to look into that if I was a manager who felt that I needed to add an injection of offense into my group. If it shows to be a situation where you can't trust him and it's just all sorts of other stuff you don't want to deal with, you can move that along. If it's anything with term and a significant amount of money, it becomes more complex. So I do think there will be some interest just because scoring is hard, right? It's the hardest thing to do. Talent is difficult to find, and he has that, and he's shown it, but it's not a guarantee. And I think that's why it's taking a little bit longer, because teams are a little bit reluctant to go down that road unless they feel they really need to employ the guy's services. But it will be interesting to track where he ends up, because I do think if he's focused and he's at his best, I think he can still be a factor in this league.
Canadian icon Ken Dryden passed away recently. Rest in peace, Mr. Dryden. Do you have any facts or stories that stand out about the man?
Well, quite honestly, he grew up in a home in Etobicoke, not far from where I live. And I remember going on walks as a young kid and seeing the house where he and his brother Dave grew up, and just looking at it and just kind of being kind of overwhelmed. Like this is where one of the best goalies of all time ever grew up. So I always found that neat. And he was a guy that, like, I'm far too young ever to have seen him play, but there's like a mythology about his career to guys like me, because he came into the league, he played 8-9 years, he won 6 Stanley Cups, and then he shut it down. And he went and did something else, and he became a lawyer. And like, who does that? Who does that? I don't think we'll ever see a run of success like that again in our lives. It's unparalleled, the success that he had. But outside of that, just the amount of success that he had in other areas of life, like what he did when he came in and took over the Maple Leafs as an executive, as a president in 1997. Not unlike Brendan Shanahan, Leafs had gone through a period there for 4 or 5 years after the runs in the early 90s where they weren't that good and kind of lost their way a little bit. And Ken Dryden brought a level of prestige back to the team and really set them on a good path. Brought in Pat Quinn, and they didn't win the cup, but they were one of the most successful teams in the league for 6 years or so, 98 to 2004. They had a lot of success. So he deserves a lot of credit for that. And then, a politician, but like as a writer, the guy had a way to capture a moment in a way that I think we all think about moments, but don't have the ability to put into words. That essay that he wrote in February after Canada won the Four Nations was unlike anything that I've ever read. Like it just hit every note that I think we were all feeling as a country, given the political back and forth at that time. Yeah, and I asked him, I emailed him up. He got back to me within the day because I wanted to get him on the brunch to talk about it further. And he said, he was so kind. I'll show you the email. He said, I really appreciate you thinking of me and taking the time to reach out. But you know what? I think I'm going to let the piece speak for itself. And I really respected that because that was what Ken was all about. He was above the chattering class. Like he was not a hot take guy, a viral guy. It was when he spoke, which was not very often, you knew there was a great deal of thought and consideration behind what he said. And when that was the case, you knew you were reading something authentic. You may not always have agreed. That's fine. But you knew there was a lot of thought behind what he said. And I'm going to miss reading his great take on so many situations, sports and otherwise.
Well, what's crazy about it was he didn't just win 6 cups. He won 5 Vezinas and a Conn Smythe and a Calder in 9 years. Like there's no player in NHL history who's done that. Like Jacques Plante won the 6 Stanley Cups and he actually won a Hart, but he played a lot longer, but didn't have a Calder, didn't have that many Vezinas. He was unreal. But actually, maybe he had close to that many Vezinas, actually, now that I say it. I think he had the same, so it was close. But he had a remarkable short career, less than a decade, but was a surefire Hall of Famer, no question. Dave, I want to get to your thoughts quickly as we wrap up on the Montreal Canadiens. I think they surprised a lot of people, even themselves last year. I don't think many people had them being a playoff team.
No.
And we had Kevin Woodley on yesterday, and I think he ranked their goaltending number 7 out of 8 in the Atlantic Division, simply because there's a lot of good goaltending duos there. But he also doesn't like the environment, and he's curious that, you know what, they're going to be able to score a lot of goals, but he's kind of concerned about how many goals they give up. What do you make of Montreal this year and how they're going to be able to continue and maybe not have a little bit of a regression?
Yeah, I agree with Kevin's thoughts, to be honest with you. I think Montreal is going to be able to score. Like they got a lot of talent up front on that team. You think Slavkovsky takes another step forward and continues to assert himself as a dominant big man in the NHL. You get a full year of Ivan Demidov, who we really haven't seen yet at the NHL level for an extended period of time. Last year was but a cameo. Mm-hmm. Hopefully Patrick Laine doesn't get hurt in the preseason this year, so he's a guy that can shoot it in the net. They're going to have talent all over the ice, but I agree. My concern is their ability to check. And at times early in the season last year, that was a huge problem. Like it almost reminded me of the old quote of Michel Therrien back in the day when he was the coach of Pittsburgh. I think it was in
one of the greatest.
05-06. You know it already, right? I really believe their goal is to be the worst defensive team in the league. And that was kind of
Dave, they say they care, but they don't care.
They don't care. But it's true, right? Because that's how Montreal played, kind of around American Thanksgiving last year into December. And it's like they've got no chance. And then the talk of Marty St. Louis, maybe his job's on the hot seat. And then they kind of got it together. And they bought in and they improved in that area greatly. So that is going to be the key. Can they check? Like they kind of remind me of Ottawa for a few years where, they ran up and down the ice. But I always said the problem with Ottawa recently, up until last year when they did get it together under Travis Green, is they don't have any interest in figuring out who their goalie is unless they read it in a program, because they never come anywhere close enough to read the name off his back. That's Montreal's challenge right now. Can they find a way to check? Can Lane Hudson continue to evolve as not just a guy that can carry the puck, but a sound player in his own end? Can Noah Dobson bring an element of that to his game? Never necessarily been his strong suit either. They still have a ton of youth and inexperience on the back end, which always concerns me. If they're in good shape leading into the trade deadline, I'd love to see an upgrade of a more stable veteran defenseman. I think that's going to be their challenge, but man, they'll be able to score.
Yeah. Oh, they'll be entertaining for sure. Davey, great stuff, man. We'll talk to you later on Sirius this week. Have yourself an awesome week.
Okay, boys. See you.
There you go. That's Dave McCarthy from Sirius XM, Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan. Quick break. We'll come back. We got the 2-minute warning with Cam Tate and more. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Are you looking for safe and professional travel options? Look no further than Silent Rides, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. Whether your group is big or small, Silent Rides has you covered. We offer state-of-the-art motor coaches, first-class service, and affordable rates. Get your quote today. For more information, call 1-877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
Some people wake up and get dressed for work in a suit and tie or a nice dress. At GS Construction, we're less fashion forward and more putting our best foot forward. We wear hard hats and steel toe boots, and most importantly, we wear 50 years of experience with pride. It's not glamorous, it's definitely not easy, but it matters. We do it well. So if you'd like to be part of something where your work matters, GS Construction is hiring. Just remember, when you come for an interview, ditch the tie. See more at gsconstruction.ca.
$1 plus tax for a smooth, small premium roast coffee at McDonald's? That means rich, full-bodied flavor at a price that's just as satisfying. Must be McCafe. Enjoy a small McCafe premium roast coffee for just $1 plus tax at participating McDonald's in Canada. Prices exclude delivery.
Listen up, because you're not going to want to miss this. Right now is your chance to get in on Play Alberta's biggest offer ever. For a limited time only, new players can get up to a $1,000 casino bonus when they sign up. There's never been a better time to join the fun. Visit playalberta.ca today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
What's better than a family reunion? Getting the family discount. At Nisku Ford, you're not just a customer, you're part of the family. And we believe our family deserves the very best.
Our legendary employee pricing has been held over into September. So if you just got back from summer vacation, you can still get the Ford you want with exclusive deals reserved for our closest kin.
The coffee's on. Drive into Nisku Ford or visit niskuford.ca today. Above expectations.
Hey, tough game today, Coach. What happened out there?
Well, our O-line was about as sturdy as a The receivers couldn't catch a beat. They tried. Next question.
Somebody needs a filter. Napa Auto Parts annual fall filter event sale is on now till September 21st. Visit your participating Napa store and get your cabin, air, and oil filters and more to keep your vehicle or equipment running in peak winning condition this fall. That's Napa know-how.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 heating and cooling company for people who want heating and cooling. Because you'll save a bundle by bundling. Then you can use hot, cold.
Come on, thermostat, do what you're told. Turn up the heat, turn up the cold to the vent, start pushing out tornadoes. Bundle my furnace with some AC. Gonna get a view from Legacy.
Oh, yeah. Save a bundle when you bundle your new furnace and AC from Legacy today. Plus no payments and no interest for 1 year. That's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
The ATB Classic is returning to Northern Bear Golf Club.
An international field of professionals will battle it out on their path towards the PGA Tour.
Advance tickets are $20 or upgrade your access to sit greenside in the Sports 1440 Birdie Bar. Presented by Sleeman.
Net proceeds go to Youth on Course to give kids aged 6 to 18 access to play golf for just $5.
Come see the future stars of the PGA Tour.
The ATB Classic.
September 11th to 14th.
Get your tickets at atbclassic.com.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at cantork.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. We treat pain and injuries head to toe and some other issues that might surprise you, like incontinence, vertigo, neuropathy, and cognitive issues. We invest in the technology, techniques, skills, and people who know how and what to fix. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Oh, a little Kenny Rogers. Oh, you know what? Did TR recommend this? No, I think he's falling in love right now. So who knows? Maybe he's getting into the ballads more. I'm not sure. TR, was this a recommendation of yours? Was this a request of the con man?
Well, it wasn't, but he's reading my mind. I love that tune. Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton, Bring It On, and that's one of my favorites. Next to my favorite Kenny Rogers, Ruby, Don't Take Your Guns to Town. Check it out.
Oh, okay. All right. I will have to check that out. I like it. We're going to, now this is, cause usually with Tater was always Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but Tater's now on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I want to listen to his 2-minute warning here, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where they remind you, get maintenance on your furnace. You want to save some money. You don't always need a new furnace. If you get it checked and upgraded, check it out at legacyheating.ca. Cam Tate, of course, a longtime journalist in town. Cam was born with cerebral palsy, in a wheelchair, but it hasn't let him stop him. He's been very successful, and he's always wanted to be on radio, but due to the disability, couldn't until now, where his words come to life in the 2-minute warning.
I didn't want to weigh in on the Connor McDavid soap opera, The Young and the Undecided. I wonder if McDavid is going to see our friend Grant over there, Leading Edge Physio, to get a treatment on his neck because of all the shrugging he's doing. Yes, my friend, shrugging. Because that's what we do when we don't know or haven't decided. But here's where the buck, or should that be the story, stops for me. Now, I'm not about to lecture anyone about the old days, but without social media, this ain't a story. For 10 years, Rome, 1985 to 1995, I was in the newspaper business without, keyword there, Gregor, without the internet. When I was working on a developing story, was asked by my editor before I started my 10 to 6 Edmonton Journal shift, one very important question. Is there anything new on the developing story? If I had a new angle, my assignment of the day was to follow the news. If there was not a new development, the boss told me to go find a non-related another story. Now, of course, social media has changed the news and sports reporting industry because we want to know everything right freaking now. Right now there, Connor Halley. Right now. And guess what happens when there's no news? Conspiracy theories get fired up and chirping begins. I am very disappointed that some social media comments are lashing out at McDavid. I think this is fundamentally wrong. Why are people dumping on McDavid? Listen, the only time the Connor McDavid contract becomes a story is when the Oilers call a press conference to announce McDavid's future. Not a cell phone or desktop click, sooner. The 2-minute warning now, 5 days a week. Gregor Halley Tate, Sports 1440.
Makes a pretty good point. I love that. Hey, is there anything new to the story? If not, bring up a new story. And it's true, because, hey, we get texts every day and people, something's going to change. It's not. Like, there's going to be a lot of people guessing. We've seen a lot of it. And like I said, some are educated guesses. Sadly, some are blatant, just flat out lies. Good news is people are kind of catching on to who are the ones who just continually will just make up stuff as a guess. But you know what? I can get to say, hey, I'm concerned by it. You know what? Just, I would make a deal with yourself, because we have a lot of texts. Hey, guys, I'm not mad at McDavid by not signing, but now he's forcing me to have to read all the Toronto fans' delusion that he's going to go there. Well, no, he doesn't force you to read it. You make that choice. Don't do it. Don't follow Leafs fans, and you're not going to see it. So it's your choice to let it bother you or not. That's just the truth, right? It's your choice to let you, if I say something you disagree with, that's fine. But if you get super mad about it, well, that's your choice, right? If you agree with something, you get super excited, that's your choice. So, like I've always said, to me, until it gets to June and McDavid doesn't have a contract, I don't think it's that big of a deal, to be honest, because he's not a free agent till then. And worst case scenario is he would get traded in June. They're not going to trade him before the deadline, right? You trade him in June, because any team that wants to sign him has to free up cap space anyway. to bring him in. No one just has $17 million lying around in free cap space, at least anybody who's competitive enough. And there's probably only 4 or 5 teams who we consider moving to anyway, and I'm still not sold any of them are a better fit than Edmonton. So I think when it's all said and done, there'll be a lot of people that have wasted negative energy on something that I don't think is really going to change. I think ultimately Connor McDavid will sign a contract extension. The question is just going to be, how long is it? 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? I don't think it'll be longer. I could be wrong on that. Where do you come out, TR?
I come out exactly where you do, and I'm not trying to be agreeable just because I'm on your show. I always, this is the age, though, right, of the overreaction, and exactly what Cam just said. There's a story, and then there's no sub-story. There's nowhere to further it, so rumors start. Back in the day, you see, when you could wait on an article and read from an educated journalist who'd done the research, and then you'd speculate. You might do it in a bar. You might do it at the barber. You might do it in a restaurant. But it was generally secluded, and they were all known to be not delusions, but, as a fan, you probably have that license to talk about maybe this, maybe that. Now all of these things, and a lot of it gets lumped in under the same vague umbrella. A lot of things are presented as fact when they're not. They're just rumors. And then rumors become fact. And it's a dog chasing its tail when it doesn't need to be. And I think on top of the negative assumptions, well, I guess all kinds of assumptions, they're not all negative, but a lot in this case are, I think people just got to sit back and relax and realize we could just make up stories right up until next June that could happen. But there's a whole lot of other things that have to happen first, right? And I agree with you. I don't think he's going to find a much better fit, but it's within his rights to sit and not sign right now. Doesn't mean he's going to leave at all. And, gather the situation. If the Oilers are fine and the Oilers are doing well, and there's no reason I see that they won't, then I think it'll all fall into line. And it's just not something to worry about now. It's the same as just worrying about, well, what if now that Bichette's injured, what if Vladdy gets injured? What if Springer goes back and does the same as he did? Like, it's just pointless. It's absolutely pointless, especially if you're a supporter of the team and of McDavid. And to be upset at the guy, I find totally ludicrous. 10 years, man, a decade for the most part of going out there and wearing your heart on the sleeve, taking that Edmonton Oilers symbol and giving it and respecting it so much and wearing it with pride, and all of the effort that's been the physical and mental effort that he's put into it while wearing that jersey. There's absolutely, first of all, if he wanted to leave, it's up to him. But I really don't see that happening. I really don't. Who am I to say it from a parking lot in Newfoundland? I don't know. I'm just saying, as a hockey fan, is definitely no reason to panic. And this is standard procedure right across the board. And if anything else, let's just look forward to a good season. And if it's all going well, I'm sure that Connor McDavid will be an Oiler in a year from now.
I would agree with that wholeheartedly. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey, Gregor, that's what Leaf fans said about Marner. I disagree with that. You can't compare the Mitch Marner situation to Edmonton. There were many Leaf fans like, we're never going to win with Mitch Marner. He can't win. He can't produce in the playoffs. No one says that about McDavid. They've been in the Stanley Cup final twice. McDavid had an unbelievable, second greatest playoff season maybe ever in 2024. So I don't really see those scenarios as the same at all. I think there was lots of talk for months that Mitch Marner wasn't going to re-sign in Toronto. That was talked about quite a bit, actually. That they're like, I don't think he's going to stay there. Like, the only way, there was lots of people said the only way that he'll ultimately stay is if they had success in the postseason, which they ended up not having. And he left. But no offense to Mitch Marner, he's not in the same category as Connor McDavid.
No, and not only that, Jason, sorry to cut you off, really, but I want to add to what you're saying here, in that these Leafs fans now are looking back with rose-colored glasses. The entire time, most of them that I know, I mean, I'm probably as bad assuming that and generalizing, but a lot of Leafs fans, a lot, more than an Oilers nation, wanted him gone. Mm-hmm. They wanted him gone. He was run out of town on many. In the eyes of many, he was run out of town. He took his option. He left. But there was a completely different set of now that the Leafs didn't really replace it with something shiny and bright and new. A lot of these same fans are speculating and commenting, and now we lost Marner. What do you think? I don't think I'm going out on a limb by saying that a large number of Leafs Nation wanted something done, and because his contract was up, it fell on Mitch Marner, and because they didn't have success in the playoffs. I agree with you. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
Yes, it's completely different.
No, yeah. I don't see a comparison between Marner and McDavid on the ice or even off the ice by any stretch of the imagination. It will be one that, hey, the story, and tell McDavid signed. I understand that some Oilers fans might be a little concerned. That's fine. Like I said, you know what? To me, you give an update every few weeks on it, but it's not going to be a daily update because I don't think anything's changing anytime soon right away. But ultimately, I still believe Connor McDavid will sign. When is he going to sign? I'm not going to guess because I don't know. Let's take a quick break. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Northgate, Chev, Buick, GMC. Buy a new vehicle and help feed families. In the month of September, for every truck sold, Northgate will feed a family of 4. See all their vehicles at northgategm.com.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
NHL Deputy Commissioner Bill Daly told reporters that the league has closed its investigation into Evander Kane spending last season on the LTIR before returning to the playoffs with the Oilers, and with that, the Oilers will not face any discipline. In the majors tonight, Jays in action, kicking off a series against the Astros. First pitch, 5:07. Also, Orioles meet the Pirates. The Royals head to Cleveland. You got the Yankees taking on the Tigers. Cubbies in Atlanta. Angels host the Twins. Mariners up against the Cards. The Red Sox in Sacramento. And the Dodgers host the Rockies. The Toronto Blue Jays announced that Bo Bichette will be placed on a 10-day IL retroactive September 7th with the left knee sprain. The team also recalled outfielder Joey Loperfido from AAA Buffalo. Staying in Toronto, Argonauts head coach Ryan Dinwiddie said at practice that Nick Arbuckle will get the start this weekend against the Edmonton Elks. Chad Kelly has been activated from the 6-game IL, but it remains unclear if he'll dress in the contest. And the Canadian men's soccer team defeating Wales 1-0 in an international friendly earlier today. Derek Cornelius scoring a lone goal in the 41st minute on a free kick just outside the 18-yard box. In the WNBA tonight, you got the Liberty and Mystics. Fever host the Lynx. Sky in Las Vegas. Mercury taking on the Sparks, and the Valkyries up against the Storm. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll talk some Anaheim Ducks with Andrew Knoll from the LA Daily News. Also, former NHLer Jason Strudwick, plus another edition of 5 Questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
That's the sound of Harley you've been dreaming about. And this is the sound of opportunity knocking, and it's coming from Harley-Davidson of Edmonton.
Our end-of-season sale is on, and we're clearing the floor with unbelievable prices on a huge selection of pre-owned bikes. This is your moment to own the legend.
Find your dream machine at Harley-Davidson of Edmonton on the Yellowhead Trail. Locally owned and operated by the Kent family, and celebrating 45 years.
The ATV Classic is returning to Northern Bear Golf Club.
An international field of professionals will battle it out on their path towards the PGA Tour.
Advance tickets are $20 or upgrade your access to sit greenside in the Sports 1440 Birdie Bar. Presented by Sleeman.
Net proceeds go to Youth on Course to give kids age 6 to 18 access to play golf for just $5.
Come see the future stars of the PGA Tour.
The ATV Classic.
September 11th to 14th.
Get your tickets at atvclassic.com.
The employee pricing event is on now at GMC. Right now, get up to $14,000 off the 2025 Sierra 1500 Denali Ultimate. Bring power wherever you go with a 6.2-liter Ecotec V8 engine with dynamic fuel management technology. Bring style to the open road with a signature Denali Vader chrome grille and accents. And keep comfort top of mind with available Super Cruise hands-free driver assistance capability. Employee pricing is on now. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
Every morning, you look in the mirror and see less of yourself. Hair loss can feel like losing a part of who you are.
But it doesn't have to be that way. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we understand the pain of hair loss. Our advanced hair restoration solutions won't just bring back your hair. They'll help you face the mirror with confidence.
Good morning, you sexy beast. Visit drvanceelliott.com today because it's time to be the man you remember. It takes
wild. Like I know.
It's the legendary Canadian Finals Rodeo. Powered by ATV.
Terry Ryan.
October 1st to 4th in Edmonton. The nation's best go head-to-head in a battle of pure willpower. Witness the raw strength and adrenaline. Rogers.
Oh, little Kenny Rogers. Oh, you know what?
Canadian Country Expo with free admission and shuttles running between the expo and the arena. This is more than a rodeo. It's a showdown. Get your tickets now at cfr.ca.
They sure saw you coming. You went in for about $200 in auto service, and by the time Johnny Slick out front was done telling you everything he thought you should have replaced, you got hosed for $3,000. Big Toy Shop won't lie to you, inflate your bill, or waste your time. You'll know exactly what your service actually costs and when it's going to be done. Take your ride to Big Toy Shop, 8315 Argyle Road, 780-298-2797.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Northwest Crane, available for all your lifting and equipment needs, specializing in selling and servicing cranes. Get lifting at northwestcrane.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 4 o'clock, Tuesday afternoon, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Also, Terry Ryan with us. The Gregor Show is presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province at PlayAlberta.ca. So I hope you're having fantastic Tuesday afternoon. Of course, the Jays back in action later on tonight, taking on Houston. No Bo Bichette. He's been placed on the 10-day IL. You saw him when he slid into to home plate, although he did come back and finish the game, but then took the next day off, and now he's going to be out for just woke up a little bit more soreness. So like he jammed his ankle. They're saying a little bit of a strain. And hey, for short term, that's okay. If that extends into long term, that'd be a problem because he is one of the best hitters, if not the best hitter on their team, no question. And that's a big loss for sure. Now, I got a question here that I think is a really good question, and TR, I'll get your thoughts as well. Hey, fellas, I'm curious, what do you think the thoughts are on what the NHL's stance will be on the 5 players from D Listener? That's a good question. I think it comes down to what's the NHL going to view. Like, will they just let him come back? I don't know. Could there be a suspension potentially? Maybe. It'll probably come down to because we could all agree that while they weren't found guilty in the court of law, that doesn't mean that they were innocent of no wrongdoing, right? You know, now it comes down to everybody's own different opinion on morals, and that's fine. So everybody's going to view it different. I'm not here to change your mind, and honestly, it's at times this is probably not something that's worth debating because you're not going to change people's opinion on it, right? And some are going to have a viewpoint, others are going to have one. But I am curious to see, you know, where they come out on this, TR. Do you have any inkling on where they're going to go?
I have no inkling on where they'll go. I do think they'll get an opportunity. How many of those are out there? I mean, if you're talking NHL, there's 32 teams. You know, they've been out of the game for a while. Now, goalies are so coveted. Hart would probably be the first that would come to mind. And if not the NHL, there's all kinds of other opportunities. Yeah, I do. I think they'll get a chance. It's tough to wade that, right? Because like you said, the moral ground, yeah, legally now we know the outcome. But then morally, everybody's on a different level. We've seen it. It's happened before. People have gotten second chances for different things. Corey Perry would be one of them. And how do you conduct yourself? You know, if I'm the team, I'm not only looking at the case, I'm looking at how do these guys outside of that conduct themselves? Are they professionals? Do they deserve a second chance? Not everybody does, right? There's a lot of
nuance to that situation. I do think that they'll get another chance. Whether that's the National Hockey League, I don't know. If they're good enough, yeah.
Yeah. And that's going to ultimately come down to the question. And, each organization is going to have their own viewpoint on it. So it'll be fascinating to see kind of how it plays out moving forward for those guys. Bill Daly did say that they are getting closer to making a decision to see what will happen. I think they probably come back, but will there be a suspension further? We'll see. Let's continue on as we talk about a lot of the teams leading up to the start of another NHL season. And we'll get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by the Spruce Grove Saints. The Saints back in action actually tomorrow night, taking on their crosstown rival, the Sherwood Park Crusaders, in exhibition action down at the Silent Ice Arena right off of the QE2. So kind of a neutral site game tomorrow. Fantastic arena actually to watch it. So you can check it out if you want to go to the game tomorrow, the Saints and the Crusaders, as they're in the final week before the regular season begins next week. And to talk a little Ducks today, because they're still, there's Mason McTavish doesn't have a contract. One of the best RFAs still left unsigned. And to discuss that, we are joined now by Andrew Knoll. Joins us, Andrew. Welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Andrew, what's the latest on McTavish?
Well, I think, you kind of see conflicting things emerging as far as the rumor mill goes. Initially, it was McTavish was looking for a long-term deal and the Ducks were looking for a short-term deal. Now that has kind of been inverted where, the Ducks want a long-term deal, maybe not quite 8 years, but they can still do that before the CBA kicks in. And McTavish may be looking for something shorter. Depending either way you want to look at it, really, it seems like they're on course for a mid-range deal, something similar to what we saw maybe with Quentin Byfield last summer, what we saw with Lucas Dostal with the Ducks this summer. I anticipate they're going to get something done that's a little beyond the midpoint, maybe a 5-year deal, something like that. With the cap going up, we see more RFAs. Maybe not as into taking the max term, or if they do take it, they want it at a premium. So it seems like that's where things are headed, but training camp is going to open on the 18th. And, we saw this last time that they had RFAs. Both Drysdale and Zegras went well into camp without a deal. So it'd be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, and it's not ideal if we look historically on players who miss camp in preseason, right? In a lot of cases, it ends up being a wasted year. Right. You go back to Willie Nylander, you look at Jeremy Swayman last year, and he signed right at the end of but he didn't get any games in, and he was just playing catch up all year long and didn't have a good season. And, you look at the Ducks, you got Joe Quenneville, there's lots of excitement around him, Jackson Lacombe and Dostal, that, Cutter Gauthier, obviously McTavish would fall in that category of good young players that if they want to have a good year, they got to get this rectified sooner than later.
Yeah, and I mean, you talk about just their organization in particular, both Drysdale and Zegras end up getting injured on the heels of missing a substantial portion of camp. They never really got up to speed, and it was a wasted year for both of them. In Drysdale's case, he wasted half of it in Philadelphia, but just the same, it was kind of a chucked year because Zegras returned, and then he got hurt again. He gets hurt next year. It seems like that really put him on a path that was kind of chaotic and volatile. So, you like to see guys get in, and I would say that maybe it's a soft deadline to open camp with him, but not a hard one. We've seen some pretty tough negotiation from Pat Verbeek and Jeff Solomon, who had been with the Kings prior to coming to the Ducks. And, we know Pat Morris will take his time and do what's best in the interest of the client, but I don't think there's any sort of exigency from like an external pressure standpoint. I don't think there's going to be an offer sheet. They have more than enough cap room to match any offer, and you just don't see a team overextending itself plus giving compensation. I really don't think that that's going to become a factor. When you look at McTavish, how good has he been, and how much more is there in his game? And it was a tale of two halves for him last season. Up to a certain point, he was by far their most disappointing player, and he had some competition. You had Pretty rough start to the year for Cutter Gauthier. Minchukov was asked to concentrate more on defense and also was missing some games. He had some healthy scratches in there. So there were a number of guys that probably weren't performing quite to standard. Leo Carlsson was another one, at least from a statistical standpoint, and yet McTavish really stood out there. But at some point in January, he got it cranking, and by the end of the year, he was probably their best player, especially among forwards. And so you had Dostal and Lacombe on the back end to compete with him. So, yeah, he really got it going. I think, he didn't have the best relationship with the coaching staff, the outgoing one.
Yeah.
He didn't say much, but he said a lot with his body language and things that he didn't say. So I think the coaching change will be strong for him. And if he can build off that stretch run last year, then, he's got a lot of runway. And we've seen him be, play the power game. We've seen him be a clutch player, obviously Team Canada being the foremost example. I think he's a very intriguing player. Just because he's been around and played a good number of games, people forget. I mean, this is a guy who's barely old enough to drink in the U.S. here.
Yeah. Well, he is very young. You're right. 100%. He looks a little bit older. He's bigger. He's physical. And, it's how you described his year, I thought was very accurate. Came on great in the second half, but the first half wasn't good. And the Ducks feel like they want to take a step this year. Now, that means maybe compete for a playoff spot. It's obviously not a lock to make the playoffs, but if you have a slow start, then the season's pretty much over for the team. And in some cases, the players. And so when you look at McTavish, where do you think is the best, who's his best line to play with?
Well, I mean, they reconfigured a lot in their top nine with Zegras outgoing, and they bring in Kreider, they bring in Granlund. I think they're going to use Granlund as a center initially. So we could see very likely, I think, Kreider and Gauthier with McTavish.
Okay.
Or that at least one of those two guys. He played a fair amount last year on a line with Colangelo and Gauthier that was very effective at the end of the season. We may see that again. Colangelo came back on sort of a tweener contract where it's a two-way this year and a one-way next year, but I don't anticipate him starting the year in San Diego. So we could just see that line reformed very easily with Gauthier and Colangelo. Again, I would look at Kreider as another possible guy, because then you have two guys with jam that can really score around the net with Chris and Mason together.
What about the rest of their blue line? Is it good enough to compete in the playoffs after Jackson Lacombe?
It's tough to say because they still have a lot of youth there. I mean, you think about the 7 guys that they're likely to have. There's only 2 veterans, and they're both guys that are probably, at least in a threshold sense, in decline. So you really don't know exactly what you're going to get from their blue line, but they certainly have enough talent. And you look at it in the long run, not only the players that are up now, but players like Steven Solberg and Noah Warren that they're developing in the lower rungs of the organization. And it's pretty exciting, but it's just kind of it's always a developmental thing. You never know what a guy's pace is going to be, how linear his process is going to be. So they have question marks with Zellweger and Minchukov and Tristan Lenneux. I feel like among their young D, only Drew Hellison has really kind of established a game where he plays within himself and it's well-defined in him, and he's still developing. So we'll see. A lot depends on what they get out of the young guys, but those are certainly talented players. I mean, 3 CHL Defensemen of the Year. They swept the awards the one year, and a very exciting prospect pipeline as well.
Speaking of that pipeline, do you see any other new faces that are going to potentially crack the lineup this year for the Ducks?
Well, I think they want to get Lenneux up there as a full-timer. They had 2 years ago a plan sort of similar to Shane Wright's, where they were going to give him, a taste of the NHL, a taste of the AHL, send him the World Juniors, and then likely he would have finished out the year back in the queue, but that didn't happen because of an injury. Last year, he spent most of it in San Diego. He had a kind of a historic pace for an AHL defenseman there. So he's performed very well. How they integrate him, especially having Hellison under contract and then 2 veterans on the right side, remains to be seen. But I think he's a guy who at a minimum will get more games this year. And then Beckett Seneca, I think, is a fairly good prospect to come up and do sort of a hybrid type course as well, where maybe he starts the year with the team, then he transitions into World Junior Prep, and then they kind of evaluate for the second half. So that's fairly exciting to have a number 3 overall pick coming in, and then another player who really tore up the AHL last year.
And lastly, after Dostal, they've got both Ville Husso and Peter Mrazek, and Mrazek's at 4.25 and Husso's at 2.2. Who do you think ultimately is going to be the backup?
It's going to be Mrazek. They've got kind of a former Czechoslovakia thing going there with Budaj as the goalie coach, and then Lukáš and Peter as the 1-2. But Husso came in and filled in well. That was kind of a cap dump for Detroit. I guess they were sort of angling to do something at the deadline that apparently didn't materialize, but they moved that, and the Ducks signing him at $2.2 million. I think that really highlights a growing trend of the number 3 goalie and its importance. A lot of teams are looking at it and saying, we need a third experienced guy. We need somebody who's basically a 2B for us. And they're paying something of a premium to get that. So they also had to stabilize things in San Diego. They had some injuries and some wayward performance last year there. So, and they had the money. At the end of the day, they still have a ton of cap space.
Yeah, that's very true. McTavish obviously would eat up maybe around 6 of that when he gets a deal done. Hopefully for his sake before next Wednesday. Thanks so much for your time, man. Really appreciate the rundown.
Oh, always a pleasure. Thank you.
There you go. That's Andrew Knoll joining us talking about the Quackers. They got the new head coach. But Mason McTavish, one of the big still unsigned RFAs. And Andrew brings up a great point. The Ducks, as an organization, like you can argue, and then you look and say, well, do we want to improve this year as a team? Because if we want to make sure, like at the end of the day, like unless you're millions apart, if you're talking 100 or 200 grand difference, sometimes you might just have to bite the bullet. Because the last time they did it with his 2 young guys, it did not pan out at all for the players or the team. They both got behind the 8 ball. Both struggled. Obviously, they ended up, trading. They got Cutter Gauthier, and that trade is looking like it's decent for them. But the Ducks, if you want to take a step and make the playoffs this year, they can't afford to have one of their better guys sitting out and then signing right at the end of training camp and preseason, missing the preseason, and then expecting him to be a good performer for you in the regular season. History shows you it doesn't work. Like he's not an elite player. He's a good player, but he's not an elite player. So if I'm Pat Verbeek, I find a way to get it done. We'll come back. It's a Gregor Show. Struds joins us next here on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Fountain Tire. Get up to 25% off select tires, up to $125 off a set of 4 select Goodyear tires, and $50 off $150 service until October 18th. Restrictions apply. Book today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
It's the Brick's famous tent sale. Save up to 60% off clearance items in the tent and store, with more amazing deals arriving daily in every department. Like up to $1,800 off power reclining sectionals and up to $700 off big screen TVs. Buy more, save more when you buy 2 or more major appliances, up to $1,000 off. Plus, get a free Bluetooth party speaker when you spend $9.99 or more on furniture. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Experience a season of superior luxury, performance, and savings. The Fall Experience event is on now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. The all-new redesigned 2026 XC90 is here. Come drive one today. You won't be disappointed. Finance or lease a 2026 XC40 from 1.99%. And right now, you can save $7,500 on remaining 2025 XC60s. The Fall Experience event is on now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better service. Visit VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
I'm a little hungry.
I've got Booster Balls from Booster Juice.
Booster what now?
Booster Balls. They're little protein bites packed with nutrients. Chewy, crunchy, yummy, and new flavors all the time. Like this little guy. The new mint chocolate Booster Ball, peppermint cocoa, coconut, peanut butter, maple syrup, all rolled up into a delightful little bite-sized snack.
Why am I just hearing about this now?
I don't know.
Can I have one?
No.
Booster Juice. Canadian born. Blending since 1999.
Listen up, because you're not going to want to miss this. Right now is your chance to get in on Play Alberta's biggest offer ever. For a limited time only, new players can get up to a $1,000 casino bonus when they sign up. There's never been a better time to join the fun. Visit playalberta.ca today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
The employee pricing event is on now at GMC. Right now, get up to $14,000 off the 2025 Sierra 1500 Denali Ultimate. Bring power wherever you go with a 6.2-liter EcoTech V8 engine with dynamic fuel management technology. Bring style to the open road with a signature Denali Vader chrome grille and accents. And keep comfort top of mind with available Super Cruise hands-free driver assistance capability. Employee pricing is on now. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
If you change your mind, take a chance on the first in line. Honey, I'm still free. Take a chance on me. If you need me, let me know. Gonna be around. If you got your place to go, when you feel it down. If you're all alone, and it's free.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Elks Nation, 2 weekly podcasts with Eddie Steele and Declan Kruger, breaking down the green and gold, the most in-depth AA football coverage on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts from.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We roll through a Tuesday. Big NHL story today would be the signing of Dustin Wolf, 7 years at $7.5 million. Basically got $1 million for every game played in the NHL. 71 starts. It's $7.5 million a year. Good for him. Nice. Let's get to Struds On now, brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton, the all-new redesigned Volvo 2026 XC90 is here. Come test drive one today. Great vehicles, better service. You will love it. Trust me. Only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
The Jason Gregor Show presents Struds On.
I don't believe in tea bags. I use loose leaf tea. And it is so much better than the tea bags. I'll eat tea bags. I'll
Struds On.
I'm not a huge DJ guy. I mean, I guess if you hand me a couple glow sticks and a tight white t-shirt that I can get wet, maybe I'd be into it.
Struds On.
There's a lone steakhouse I used to go to down in Kentucky, and they had bowls of peanuts. I wasn't sucking on those ones. You know, I mean, you need to have clean nut. I'm talking about the kind you get in a bag at an Elks game. You know what I mean?
It's time for Struds On.
Freddie, what's happening?
There it is. I'm good, buddy. What's going on with you guys today?
Oh, just getting closer to another NHL season. We got the NFL rolling. And it's another year. Not much has changed for your Giants as they don't score a touchdown for the third consecutive season opener. So that was a little tough. We probably were expecting a little bit more from them offensively, weren't you?
Well, no, they do have their first 4 games are pretty tough competition. And listen, I know you don't ever understand when I say this, but I'm not really looking for them or anticipating them to win many games. Like sometimes you have to accept where you are. You need more talent, talent. So you play it out, maybe go 1-3 in the first 4, and then maybe you find a way to get dart in some starts in the second half of the season. You have a high enough draft pick, you can add some more talent in areas of need. And then, if that happens, probably the GM and coach are probably gone, but you start over again and, hopefully you got enough talent. But I don't know. I think I'm trying to be realistic as a fan of my team, knowing where they are talent-wise. And I feel we still need more, including at quarterback.
Oh, God, yeah. No question. But, hey, your boy, Danny Dimes, look at him. He goes to a new team. He's playing great.
Yeah, well, he was a big surprise at the weekend. I also think J.J. McCarthy last night, didn't start out very well, hadn't played never played in the NFL, I guess. And then he had a pretty good night. Caleb didn't look too bad either. But, those Danny and Caleb, or not Caleb, J.J. McCarthy were the two surprises for me. I don't know what Connor saw, but those are guys I didn't expect to quite do that on week 1.
Yeah, well, McCarthy, first ever start because obviously he missed last year and people were freaking out in the first half, but obviously he found his stride. in the second half. The Bears' run game was just abysmal beyond belief. It was embarrassing just how bad it was. You're not really helping your young quarterback when you can't even get off the line of scrimmage. So that wasn't pretty for Bears fans for sure. Now, Struddy, Dustin Wolf, what do you make of that signing for the Flames?
Well, I'll go back a couple of years. I knew about Dustin. You'd heard about it. He was doing the American League, and just hearing different people or scouts talking about it, there are those that felt he was too slight to be an everyday NHL goalie. Well, last year he came in, and what more can you ask for a guy? Give you a chance every night and played well. So obviously Craig Conroy is putting his flag in the ground. This is our guy. We're getting him locked up. We're going to start putting our foundation pieces together. So that's their goalie. I'm guessing with some of the D-men might get moved out, or who knows with Nazem Kadri, they're going to start moving guys out. But they're starting to now say this is our group. So good for Dustin. I think he's a pretty good goalie, and obviously they feel comfortable. But I can't say how important it is to have that foundational piece in net, knowing you've got it locked in.
Yeah, obviously it's a big bet for a position that's incredibly volatile, right? That to me is, there's obviously a risk because it's a young goalie, and we've seen good goalies all of a sudden hit it. And I'm like, the Flames last year, Struddy, I felt they squeezed every ounce of juice they had out of their orange. They were sound defensively. They kept a lot of games tight. You're playing in pressure situations, but I think that can wear you down. They can't score, and they made no changes, like none. They didn't change anything. I'm trying to think the last time a team who missed the playoffs changed nothing.
Well, first off, you got to give credit to Ryan Huska, because I totally agree with you. I think that he did a great job coaching that team to play hard and all that stuff. But a coach can only work with what he has. Yes. And that issue of skill is a big one. You need people that can put it in the back of the net. You can grind teams down, but still you got to at least score a few to win. So I'm sure that Craig's looking around and hoping that maybe a young player 2 steps up, but he's able to add pieces as they go. Because look at Rasmus Andersson. I can't see them signing him. I just don't see it happening or extending him. So I think he's a guy that's going to get traded. So are they looking for that? Are they looking for a youngish player that can score? Now, is the team going to want to give that up for him for just a playoff run? Unless they could do a sign and trade, which obviously bumps up the value of everybody.
We've had David Tomasic on the show last week, Struds, and with Zach Hyman likely unavailable to start the season, he hasn't shot a puck yet. What is your thoughts on Tomasic and where he could fit in, or do you just need to see him play before you can make any sort of sentiment? Because I'll say this, like, the guy's like he's 210. He's got a howitzer of a shot. I was watching him. That's really all I could take away from it. But other than in our conversation, he mentioned confidence numerous times, and he felt like now was the time for him to come over to North America. He's had offers for the last few years. Most of them were 2-way deals, not 1-way deals. He had a few of those this year and chose Edmonton. But, you played in that league, Struds. He led it in goals 2 years ago, led it in points last year. Like, he clearly has got some offensive acumen.
So, huge wild card. For me, he's up there with Howard and even Matt Savoy about being a wild card this year, because he can have a huge impact on this team. You just don't really know. So I saw him the other day. I saw you down there, and it was interesting. After practice, there was 4 guys shooting shots at one end. Connor, Leon, Matt Savoy, and him. 4 guys. And you're right, he's got a bomb, a big right shot bomb. And he loves stabbing pigeons in the rooftops, so he brings that hammer down and just hammers it. And Connor is feathering passes over to him. So, I think a little bit for Connor, just seeing what this guy's got. You want to see what he can do. Like, can he actually bury in the back of the net and all that? So I would like to think in exhibition, and especially with what you're saying about Zach Hyman, they give him a chance, and not so much a chance to prove what he can do. Let's find out what he can do. Like, let's just see what he can do. Give him a chance. Like, give him a chance on good lines with good players, and put him in those positions to find out, and let him find out what he can do, because the league's different. There's like, that's a good league for sure over there in Sweden. It's really good, but there's no Connor McDavid floating around, no Barkov floating around. Like, there are really good players here, but he did do a really good job. So give him a chance, and he doesn't have to be Connor or Leon. No. He has to be a guy that can contribute with those guys. So being a player that can play with really good players, that's hard to do, right? It's hard to do. So I hope he gets a really good chance, and they keep putting him beside Connor or Leon, get him beside it, let him play, let him figure it out so he and the team and his teammates can find out what he's capable of.
Yeah, well, I think the preseason, you know what? I know McDavid's only going to play a few games, right? That's obviously same as Leon Draisaitl. I think Podkolzin and Savoy there. But yeah, I think you got to give him a look. Podkolzin and Mangiapane. So it might be Savoy and Tomasic battling it out between the two of them. I want to get your thoughts, though, on defense, Struddy, because for me, Tomasic's the biggest wild card up front. I like it. But then there's Alex Regula on the back end, Struds. And I know you were there at practice, right? The biggest difference, now Emerson wasn't there, but Stetcher and Emerson are here. They're right guys. Obviously, Emerson has the most experience. But Regula, the NHL size matters on the back end, whether you like it or not. Now, if you're just a pylon, no. But if you can move, which he can, but Regula's 6'5", right? He's like a long, well, maybe 6'4", but he's a long 6'5", if you know what I mean. And I'm kind of intrigued to see, the GM likes him. That always plays into it. And I'm kind of interested to see, what did you see from him that maybe piques your interest for the preseason?
Well, he's a guy that I've been wanting to see for a while. I wanted, because he's been hurt, he's been up, he's been on, he hasn't really, we haven't got a chance to see him, but they keep bringing him around, see what's going on. So to me, he's really interesting, and he could have a real impact on what this blue line looks like. The problem for him is there's a big fight for that sixth spot, right? A big fight between Emerson, Stetcher himself. Bo Aki probably isn't quite in that conversation, but you hope that he moves his way into it, sooner or later. But he is long. He moves around pretty well. But I wonder what his mindset is. Like, is he going to decide, I'm going to be this type of player? Like, they don't need, I don't feel they need a real wheeler dealer. They've got some of those guys. Can he be a guy that is coming in? I'm going to be physical. I'm going to, shut down cycles. I'm going to make a quick first pass, and be kind of like Cody Ceci, right? And that's a great place to be. But or is he trying to be something else? And I wonder what the coaching staff's telling him. But huge opportunity. Most likely, I'm guessing he probably doesn't get again to a lot of games here early. Maybe he has to work his way in. But he's got to stack good practices together. I've talked about that before. Come in, you do not have one bad practice. Don't have one bad game. Make them want to keep seeing more of you, and force them to say, man, he's out competing this guy or out competing. Well, this guy's a vet. Doesn't matter. We got to keep giving him a chance. Keep giving him a chance. So I'm really interested in him because I do like those long, tall D-men. They can get around the ice pretty well.
Yeah, it's just the game's evolved a little bit there. You still got to be able to move the puck and everything, but you just take up more space, right? And it's all about time and space. And if you can eliminate it in the defensive zone, it makes a big difference. What about Leppinen, the Finnish defenseman? Now, he's very different. He's a lefty, but he's highly offensive. And I know he wasn't here at the captain's skates. Now, my understanding is he's here this week. So they'll have them, and they're not available to the public and even the media until training camp next week. But could he at all surprise people because of his offense strategy, or do you think that this guy's destined to at least start in the American League?
Well, I think he's going to start in the American League and kind of see that. But what does it look like? Like, what does it look like for him? What is he? Where does he fit in? Could you imagine a scenario? Maybe he's beside Kulak, or he's beside Nurse, or he's beside Wallman, maybe, I guess. It's hard. I'm trying to understand what he goes in now. I still think it'd be nice if they had a guy that could transition the puck really well in every line. So we got Evan Bouchard, and not that Ekholm's not a good puck mover. I think Wallman moves it pretty well. And then Kulak and Nurse are capable, but another guy that could really zip it around, I think that'd be good. But he's not going to he won't get on the power play. Let's just be honest. So that's handicapping him quite a bit, because I'm guessing that's what he really does well. So they got to find a way to get him ice time. I doubt he's probably a big penalty killer. So again, he's off the power or specialty teams. So now, how do you get this guy ice time to feel like he's valued? But I'm sure that those forwards will like to get those pucks from him on his stick and get him going. So he is a wild card. I'd have him underneath the other three we just talked about. But he's a guy that, again, if he gets sent down, he's got to dominate. He's got to go down there and be the hardest worker and really move the puck around and contribute in every way possible, so that they're like, we got to give this guy a chance. Because there's probably going to be injuries, Greg. They've had 2 long years of hockey. And, unfortunately, kind of get worn down a bit. So even if it's just a break, the guy's a bad back, he's like, I need this to rest for a month. Okay, boom, who are we calling up? So I think he's a wild card as well. But not having seen him enough, but I got a sense of what he's like. Where does he fit in, and how does he break that door down?
Jason Strudwick joins us, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, as well as those on YouTube. By the way, go say hi to Deck in the chat on the YouTube. Struddy, the Elks. And I know that the Elk man hasn't made an appearance at the game yet this year. I don't know if you've retired your antlers or not, but largest crowd they've had in years. Huge win over Calgary. The defense really stepped up, even with some injuries. Their D-line best game by a mile this year. Justin Rankin continues to dazzle. What do you make of the Elks? Are they starting to make you a believer?
Well, they are. And, I didn't predict this at all, but I'm not surprised when you look at the quality of people they have in the front office and the coach, and how they're, Mark was talking about, we're not listening to outside noise. We're heading the right direction, because it's 4 out of 5, I think, but it could be 5 out of 6, right? It could be 5 out of 6. But it doesn't matter. They're getting, and they're starting to believe in themselves. They're starting to understand how they want to play and how it's supposed to look. The running back was just on fire. What do you have, 208 yards or something, which is pretty insane. So guys are starting to, top off and starting to feel good about themselves. So mentally getting the split against Calgary is, I think, humongous, absolutely huge, especially look at the first game where they kind of got rolled over. So they find a way to get that split. Now they're heading off, and they can try to keep building and getting some wins. Getting the playoffs has got to be the goal at this point. They've got to get in, whether it's a crossover, straight up, whatever, just getting in, because now that's the floor. And now the expectations are higher heading into the off season, and they'll tweak some things for sure. Every team does. But mentally, getting that split, I was so happy for those guys watching that game on Saturday.
Yeah, well, it was a huge win for them, no question. And now, you go to Toronto on Saturday, and you should feel very comfortable about that you can compete with Toronto. It's not like they're a juggernaut by any stretch of the imagination. Then Hamilton and Saskatchewan, you got to find a way to split that if you can. But I really think just the importance for a franchise to win a home game in front of their crowd, something that hasn't happened in a long time, that just in itself was massive.
And people are talking, Greg. For many years, you and I, you'd go around the community, it's all lawyers. Now I have people saying, what do you think of this or that with the Elks, which is really good. I haven't had that experience in quite a while, but I've noticed it the last 2-3 weeks. I'm golfing with somebody to bring it up, or I see people wearing hats more often again. So to me, it doesn't change overnight. And yeah, the franchise had some hard times, but you got to believe. I just think getting into the playoffs, man, that'd be a great thing for this group, this franchise, and then those players.
Yeah, no question. Struddy, what about the Jays? Are they going to finish it off? Are they going to finish first in the AL East?
Man, I want to believe it. When they won the first game against the Yankees, and then they dusted the next two. I think that winning one and getting 2 out of 3 would have been huge. Now the Yankees have a little momentum, because that's how quick it can change. I'm nervous, but I'm still semi-confident about their ability, because what are they, 2 up on them and 3.5 on Boston, I think, or something like that. So I don't know. I want to believe they get it done. It was enough done on Bichette. He kind of went in that.
Yeah, he's on 10-game IL, so he'll be out for 10 days. Not 10 game, 10 days.
Yeah, he's such a good hitter, right? That's going to be missed, but they have some depth. I want to believe they're going to win. I think winning the division is really important. What do you think?
Oh, I think it's hugely important. No question. You get a bye, right? It allows their pitchers to rest. The biggest positive for me from the weekend was that their pitching staff pitched really well. Even the bullpen, and they didn't give up a lot of runs. They didn't give up a lot of hits. Their offense couldn't get anything going in games 2 and 3. But so to me, that was a positive. They've had some days off, so I think their staff should be a little bit more relieved as far as fatigue goes. So that should, in theory, help them. And now that's not easy, right? Now the Yankees are playing Detroit, Toronto's playing Houston. Just find a way to win 2 out of 3, and that's pretty good against another division leading team.
No, and this team is very likable. And how I felt about Bautista and those guys. It was harder to cheer for them. This group, I like. They seem to be like a lot of Johnny hustlers, right? And they're all working hard for each other. And so I think that is important for this group. But like, as you say, winning series is absolutely huge. If they can do that, and obviously, the longer you go through and make it, it makes it happen. But I'm worried with Bichette out even 10 days, man. That's a lot of hits that is sitting up with ice on his whatever it is, his shin or his knee.
Yeah, no question. He's leading MLB in hits. He's leading them in doubles. So they're definitely going to miss him at the plate. They're going to need, some other guys to step up. They could now. Vladdy hit the ball really well in New York, and if that continues, that's obviously a good sign for them. Struddy, have yourself a great one. We'll talk some rookie camp and main camp coming up next week.
I can't wait, man. I think it's going to be a fun hockey season all around the league. Lots of stories. So I'm jacked.
There you go. That's Jason Strudwick, co-host of the Got Your Back podcast. Joins us every Tuesday on Sports 1440. We'll come back. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We got 5 questions next.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
September, back to class and back to carting the kids around. Good news. Until the end of the month at Wolf GMC Buick, get GMC employee pricing on all remaining 2025 GMC Sierras, so you'll have loads of room. Plus, get 0% financing on Sierra light-duty crew cabs. If you're eyeing up an SUV, we have the completely redesigned GMC Terrain and our entire Buick family with incredible prices. And Costco members up to $1,200 additional off the price. Come see us, corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road.
Wolf, GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Summit Restaurant, located in the heart of the Silent Ice Center and just minutes from South Edmonton Common. Summit is your destination for exceptional house-made pizza, delicious entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails. Experience the perfect blend of flavor and ambiance in a modern setting. Join us for a straightforward yet elevated dining experience where our commitment to quality speaks to every bite and sip. Make Summit Restaurant your next night on the town.
$1 plus tax for a smooth, small premium roast coffee at McDonald's? That means rich, full-bodied flavor at a price that's just as satisfying. Must be McCafe. Enjoy a small McCafe premium roast coffee for just $1 plus tax at participating McDonald's in Canada. Prices exclude delivery.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Work never gets done by standing around. You have to put your words into action. And that's exactly what GS Construction does every single day. Our priorities are safety first, quality second, efficiency third. GS Construction works hard. It's true, but first comes the care, the planning, and the people. Underground infrastructure isn't just about machines and trenches and some traffic inconveniences. It's about doing things right. Find out more on what we do. Visit gsconstruction.ca. While the players gear up for the new season, make sure you gear up your snack game with Will Hawk Beef Jerky.
Okay, this jumbo bag of beef jerky should last the preseason.
Whoa. Will Hawk has more than just beef jerky. There's smoked sausage and pepperoni products, too.
Well, how about we have jerky for Eastern opponents and pepperoni sticks when we face the Western teams?
Now that sounds like a Will Hockey game plan.
Will Hawk Beef Jerky, because you don't win games with salad. Only available in Leduc.
Hey, Gary, is that your dad?
No, this is Evan, the new sales rep I hired.
Oh.
First impressions matter, but when hair loss takes over, it can feel like you're not being seen for the maverick you truly are. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we know that hair loss is more than just a cosmetic issue. It's personal. Let's discuss all the cutting-edge options available so you can make a great impression every time.
Book a free consultation today at drvanceelliott.com. It takes grit. It takes heart. It's the legendary Canadian Finals Rodeo, powered by ATV. From October 1st to 4th in Edmonton, the nation's best go head-to-head in a battle of pure willpower. Witness the raw strength and adrenaline at Rogers Place. Plus, soak up the Western lifestyle at the Canadian Country Expo, with free admission and shuttles running between the expo and the arena. This is more than a rodeo. It's a showdown. Get your tickets now at CFR.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. It's Terrific Tuesday. Get 40% off any regular price pizza when you use the code word 40Tuesday at the start of each pizza order at papajohns.ca or the Papa John's app.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
This is such a good tune, man. Woo! This ever held up the test of time. Classic on a Tuesday afternoon. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Terry Ryan with you as we roll through into 5 questions brought to you by The Brick, where the tent sale continues on. Unbelievable deals. You can go select king mattresses for the price of a queen and get a queen mattress for the price of a twin. Also, you can kick back and relax and save up to $1,100 off sofas and sectionals right now at The Brick and The Brick Dog.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, guys. Question number 1. Different situation, of course, but with the number coming down on the Dustin Wolf contract, does that give you any inkling on a prediction for a Stu Skinner deal and what it could look like?
For me, I mean, you could speculate similar contract number to what he's on now with maybe a year or 2 or 3. But honestly, I think with him in particular, I mean, I have confidence in Stewart for many reasons I don't have time to get into, but I just think we got to see how it plays out. We got to see what happens because his piece within this team is absolutely crucial. And there's a little bit of walking on eggshells. We got to see. I think a lot of Oilers fans want him to prove it and have a great year and maybe be a little bit more consistent. And playoffs comes into that as well. So I really don't think I can speculate from where I am right now.
Yeah, see, it's funny. I think they're very different situations. They look at Wolf as kind of like a major foundation piece that they'll build around. When you've got McDavid and Draisaitl and even Bouchard to an extent, you're just not going to have that. Now, Skinner, I think he's young. He can play very well. I look at Dust Allen, some of the other contracts. Like Dustin Wolf got a lot, right? A lot of money compared to some other contracts here recently. So I think that's actually pretty high, to be honest. So no, I don't see Skinner coming in that range.
It is a 7-year extension for Wolf. So question number 2, what year of that deal will he make his playoff debut for the Flames?
Oh, that's a good question. So I don't see the Flames being a playoff team this year. And if they move Rasmus Andersson, I don't see how that gets them closer. So I will say year 2 of the deal, which is 3 years, because this is the final year of his current deal.
I'll say not this season, next season. There's too much that happens in the whole course of a year. In Calgary, I don't think they're like basement dwellers like Chicago have been the last few years. I think they have a chance. And who am I to say they can't do it a year from now?
Question number 3. Sidney Crosby said that he gets it on the speculation of him being linked to the Montreal Canadiens potentially. So I'm asking you guys, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the least likely, 10 being automatic, what are the odds we see him playing in a jersey that is not a Penguins jersey in his career?
Oh, I got to say a 9.5. I don't see him wanting to play out the final 3 years of his career where he's got 0 chance of the playoffs.
Yeah, I think it's intriguing this year. Maybe not, although all signs point to that making the most sense. But I see something at least like Bork. Not in that he needs to win a cup, but play the last part of his last season with somebody else, maybe to go for it. Something like that. I just think there's too much time left in his career because of the way he's treated his body, how gifted he is as an athlete, how much he has left in the tank to think that he's going to play it all with the team that's floundering.
Question number 4 for you guys. This would be tough because we've only seen a limited sample size, but 2 quarterbacks last night from the 2024 draft played with Caleb Williams and JJ McCarthy. If you had to start a franchise with either of these 2 players, who would be your preference?
Oh, me, it would be McCarthy. Just the little that I know, I did my homework on both, and think they both have a lot of upside. I like the way McCarthy honestly handled himself yesterday. Seems like got a fairly good family and nucleus behind him. Says the right things, and when he needed to turn it on, yet I mean, there's a lot of things happening yesterday. That wasn't like some wily veteran that's been through it before. Yes, he's been in the national game. He's had pressure situations, but all eyes on you. Monday Night Football, and the first half didn't really go as planned, to say the least. So for him to bounce back there and get the respect of his teammates and fan base, and that wasn't easy to do. And I think they're both going to be good. I think McCarthy's going to be great. At least I'm banking on it.
Oh, that's a good question. Like the Bears defense, like let's be honest here, their secondary was ravaged with injuries yesterday. So McCarthy did look good for a quarter, no question. But yeah, Caleb Williams, it's a good question, Cons, because they're both so early in their careers that like Caleb Williams' athleticism, if his eyes can catch up to his feet, I think he'll be pretty dangerous. But McCarty, just something about him that he looks like maybe he's just a little bit more of a naturally confident leader. So I would go with that.
Yeah, and he's won before. Got the natty with the Michigan Wolverines. Question number 5 for you. It's International Sudoku Day. So I want to ask you, in just games that you play by yourself, pass some time, unwind, is there a favorite of the rest that stands out?
Well, I'm going to take PlayStation out of it because there are a lot of those. But my favorite game of that sort is Scrabble. I think it's a perfect mix of mathematics, and vocab. It makes you think. And I read somewhere years ago that it's good brain practice to keep you sharp. So I play Scrabble every single day of my life. That's no joke.
I currently play a game that's on the app with Wordle, but Connections. And there's 16 words and there's 4 groups, and they got to figure out why they're connected. And sometimes it's very weird. So it's real a brain game to think. It doesn't take very long. And I can only play one. So it limits me from getting ultra addicted to it. So
the New York Times app, right?
Yes.
I get that.
What do you play?
Like TR, like for me, if I want to play a video game, I mean, I'll go with it. I'll say that I do like to play Grand Theft Auto. Mindless game, doesn't really relax you, but it's just fun to pass time. If I'm playing one to try to relax, I like Solitaire. I've got the app on my phone. I'll play a couple games when we're watching TV on the couch. So Solitaire is always a good one.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I got back into, Con Man? If you like Grand Theft Auto, same game 150 years before the fact, Red Dead Redemption. I just got back to it again a couple of weeks ago. I finished Indiana Jones, and I'm loving every minute of it. Spent last night fishing up in the mountains somewhere. Had a great time, just like I was really next to the lake. What a time.
Those are the only 2 games I play, GTA and Red Dead Redemption 2. So I get to TR.
Like, obviously,
number 2. Sorry.
I'm clearly out of it because I've never even heard of that game. But I don't play a lot of video games, right? Like Galaga is my thing. That's about it. And by the way, if you're at Niagara Falls, Connor Halley, and you're going for the high score, the new Galaga game in the big arcade game right on the major strip of Niagara Falls, TR had like a record-breaking game for myself. It was unbelievable. My son had to come around twice. Dad, are you still playing? Yeah, I was on fire. It was unbelievable.
Wow. Now you got to keep that like George Costanza did with the frog.
Well, I know. I wish I could have. They unplugged the screen. I got to get it across. So it was a little bit too far. But it was one where I wish I could have just kept playing because it was amazing. It was sometimes you're just in the zone. And I had turned back the clock as a veteran Galaga player for one day. And it was unbelievable. Very, very entertaining for myself. My son was probably starting to lose his marbles, but even he after a while was like, Dad, you're pretty good at this game. And I'm like, well, I did spend a little bit of time as a kid on that one. So I can't play any of the other games. He spanks me in any of the other games, but Galaga is the one game. If I can go back to it, I'm pretty confident. So if anybody's in Niagara Falls next, check out the high score. It's only about 620,000. points. No big deal.
Okay.
What name did you put in?
JWG.
Okay. So if anyone's out there, they can confirm it for us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm going there, don't you? I'm going there for sure. I go through there to go to Buffalo here and there.
Buddy, I've never been there
100%.
before. I couldn't believe it's like we're obviously the falls are great, but like that little 2-block strip, there's like a Ferris wheel, there's mini golf, there's go-karts, like it's a whole little midway in there. It's crazy.
There's so much happening that they don't like. You don't realize that, right? Because there's so much to, and usually it's concerts or the casino or a Sabres game or something in the summer. But I know that little strip, boy. You know, it's a dandy afternoon. Get in there and with a few buddies, maybe after the casino, have a beer or two, and it's a nice place, especially in the summer.
Yeah, very true. TR, have yourself a spectacular day. We will talk to you on Thursday.
Thanks, Connor. Thanks, Jason. Thank you, Edmonton. We'll chat again soon.
TR, of course, joins us every Tuesday and Thursday. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Are you ready to swap your tires out this fall? Well, Fountain Tire makes it easy. You get $50 off tire storage with the purchase of a new set of tires this month. No more stacking tires in your garage. Let them handle it. Go to fountaintire.com and see select store for details.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
NHL Deputy Commissioner Bill Daly told reporters today that the league has closed its investigation into Evander Kane spending last season on the LTIR before returning to the Oilers in the playoffs, with that Edmonton not facing any discipline. Results, Major League Baseball today. Jays in action set to take on the Houston Astros out in Toronto. First pitch 7 minutes away. Currently, Nationals up on the Marlins 3-0 in the second. Also in the second, the Guardians have a 1-0 lead over the Royals, and the Pirates and Orioles tied at 1 apiece. Toronto Argonauts head coach Ryan Dinwiddie said today at practice that quarterback Nick Arbuckle will get the start this weekend against the Elks. Chad Kelly has been activated from the 6-game IL, but it does remain unclear if he will dress for the contest at BMO Field. Canadian men's soccer today, knocking off Wales 1-0 in an international friendly. Derek Cornelius scoring the lone goal for the Canadians in the 41st minute from a free kick just outside the 18-yard box. And in the WNBA tonight, 5 games on the schedule. Liberty hosts the Mystics. Lynx are in Indianapolis. You got the Aces in the Sky. Sparks meet the Mercury. And the Valkyries head to Seattle for a battle with the Storm. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Tim Broly of SiriusXM Fantasy and Fantasy Points will join us to take a look at some fantasy football. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Is your company drowning in paperwork and administrative tasks? Do you need more data to make better decisions? Nectar.io is your company's all-in-one solution for fleet and materials management, safety, time cards, and GIS-based project management. Now is the time to capture and transform field, site, and shop data into boardroom-level business intelligence, all with one login. Visit Nectar.io to book a demo today. Nectar.io, your business made better.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle.
It's the Bricks famous tent sale. Save up to 60% off clearance items in the tent and store, with more amazing deals arriving daily in every department, like up to $1,800 off power reclining sectionals and up to $700 off big screen TVs. Buy more, save more when you buy 2 or more major appliances, up to $1,000 off. Plus, get a free Bluetooth party speaker when you spend $9.99 or more on furniture. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
That's the sound of Harley you've been dreaming about. And this is the sound of opportunity knocking. And it's coming from Harley-Davidson of Edmonton.
Our end-of-season sale is on, and we're clearing the floor with unbelievable prices on a huge selection of pre-owned bikes. This is your moment to own the legend.
Find your dream machine at Harley-Davidson of Edmonton on the Yellowhead Trail. Locally owned and operated by the Kent family and celebrating 45 years.
excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
At Fountain Tire, we're fluent in saving you money. Fluent? Yes, we've mastered the language of deals. Like right now, you can save up to 25% off select tires and up to $125 off a set of 4 select Goodyear tires. Plus, $50 off $150 service when you buy those tires. All until October 18th. I'm sorry, I don't speak deals. Spend less, save more when you buy round black things from us. Oh, got it. Restrictions apply. Book your appointment online today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is sounding the call. Don't struggle through winter with a furnace you can't trust. For maintenance before winter strikes, call Legacy. Call Legacy. For furnace tune-ups and repairs to give peace of mind. Call Legacy. Or to scrap your old furnace for a brand new high-efficiency one. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. And with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your new furnace, it's gotta be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Harley-Davidson of Edmonton on the Yellowhead Trail, locally owned and operated by the Kent family and celebrating 45 years.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 5 o'clock. How are you? Hope you made it through another great day at work. Hopefully it was all right. Not too stressful. Got along with your coworkers, your boss. We'll see. The Jays and the Astros in warm-up. First pitch coming in a few minutes' time. Other games that matter for them tonight, of course, has the Yankees hosting the Detroit Tigers. So the top 4 teams in the AL all going up against one another. Then you throw in Boston. They are on the late game taking on the Athletics. And you also have Seattle hosting St. Louis. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where improved odds make it more fun for MLB, NFL, soon to be NHL. Check it out at PlayAlberta.ca and download the app. It's even easier to navigate. Let's get to the Spec Report now, brought to you by GS Construction, your underground infrastructure specialists. They are hiring. If you're looking for a fantastic career that have an opportunity to really grow and become a career, go to Indeed.com and look up GS Construction as Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. Spec, good afternoon. How you doing?
Doing great, man. I won't lie to you. I'm standing on 16 at Lewis Estates.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
playing golf with some boys. Just hit a tee ball, one of my best of the day, dead center. Looks like he's about, I'd say about 120 out. But now I'm talking on the phone, and I'm going to take a hole off and just tell the boys, give me a bogey or a par, whatever you think.
Oh, wow. You're right. You're right in the middle. It's all about your second shots, Beck. Right?
The longer we talk, the better my score gets.
That's very
So
true. I was just going to say, take that par all day long. Take that par for sure.
It is a nice drive, though. I'm looking at it. It is dead center, man. Let me tell you what. And that is not every day for this cat.
No, very few of us every day, for sure. Few things. What do you make of the Wolf contract? That's a lot of money for a guy with 71 games.
It is, but they believe in him. Like, I think, how would you not think he's the real deal? Like, he was goalie of the year 2 times in a row in the AHL. He put up pretty good numbers behind a not playoff team in Calgary. You know, he's young. They've groomed him. They're trying to build something there with some building blocks. And who doesn't want, you know, your best, youngest building block to be in goal? Like, it's just perfect. So listen, I guess I'd say to you, if you're Craig Conroy, are you waiting for someone else to come along and give a long-term deal to? Like, if not him, who? Come on.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And, I'm interested when I look at the Flames and they've got him, but man, like, I don't know where they're going to score goals, Spec. It's stunning to me. Like this offseason, when you really break it down, this is probably in the last decade the least amount of significant movement that I can remember in an NHL offseason.
Yeah, that's fair. And hey, listen, Calgary's in a tough spot. Like, they're not Edmonton. They're not viewed by the rest of the league as a place you might win a cup. Their rink is the oldest and frankly most dilapidated in hockey in terms of dressing room, workout facilities, all that stuff. Calgary's a fantastic, beautiful city, a great place to raise your kids, all that stuff. But they're not getting free agents going to Calgary. Like, free agents aren't going there. Jay, you know this.
Yeah. Well, because they're not. It's more because they're not winning, right? It's more because they're not winning. When they get the new rink, that will help too. But you got to win, right? You got to be competitive.
You got to be both. You got to make people think you can win, and you got to be a nice place to go to work every day. Like when you're Canada. And we watched it in Edmonton. Edmonton sucked, and their rink sucked, and so did the team. So, listen, that Calgary's there. They got to work their way out of it. This is a place to start. You got to draft good players, develop them well, and make them the pillars of your team. And we can sort of argue about their entire roster up and down, but I'll say to you that they did that with their goalie. They've drafted and developed the most important position.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're going to build stack a team on top of Wolf. And, let's see what happens from here, man.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with them doing it. It's obviously a big commitment to a young guy. And, I know some people said, hey, does this mean Stuart Skinner's going to come close? Well, it's funny. It's because he's the guy they're building around. Stuart Skinner, when you got McDavid and Draisaitl, even if Stuart Skinner plays great, they're not going to be looked upon as the guy you're building around.
Yes, that's fair. Like, to me, Stuart Skinner, it's pretty simple with him. Like, we can all talk about the things he's not. And I know that's this city, we all make a lot of hay on that. I would say to you, if not Stuart Skinner, that's fine. Doesn't have to be Stuart Skinner in the goal in Edmonton, but who is it going to be? Like, find me the next guy that's better.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, Stan Bowman just spent the whole offseason and could not find a guy that's better. And I'm telling you right now, like, Stu Skinner is we've had this conversation. He's entering his prime. He's 26. I think he's about to take a big step. You'd hate to trade him and have him take that step somewhere else. And in the end, Jay, until you can give me the guy that's better, if you can get Sorokin, get him and trade Skinner for him and let's go. But you can't get that guy, can you?
Probably not right now. Maybe another losing season in Long Island potentially, but I do know that Sorokin loves it there. So that's, there's the factor there, right? No question. Sure. But hey, if Skinner plays well, then it's irrelevant. So, just play well, which he's proven he can do at different times. The rookie camp gets going tomorrow, Spec, and outside of Howard and Savoy, there's not a lot. And nor should there be. If I look around the NHL, I bet you if I went through rookie camp rosters, there might be at the most on one team 3 guys who might make their team, but realistically, it's probably 2 everywhere. And in some cases, 1, and in some cases, like none, right? So, I don't think Florida has a rookie who's going to make their team. So, Edmonton does because they've opened up some spots for some guys, and that's great. And, former first rounder, so that'll give them an opportunity. But, the rookie camp for me, Spec, is, it's not overly riveting. For after that, there's not a lot of guys that I'm sure, like Bo Akey's probably at best a few years away, at best.
Yeah, for sure. It's about waves of players. Like, a smart old GM once told me, you got 3 guys in the minors and that you like, and 1 might make it for you and turn into what you hoped. And the other 2, boy, if the second guy's good too, you hit the goal line. Like, it's about numbers. So you got 2 guys this year. Go ahead. You got 2 guys this year. You got Ike Howard and Savoy. Are they both going to have awesome rookie seasons, Jay? Or are the odds that one of them is?
Yes.
Right? And the other, we're going to go, he was all right. So we start there. And then the next group coming is who? I mean, Bo Akey's a few years away. He's right out of junior. The Szymanski kid out of Germany, he's a big guy anyway. Played some pro hockey over there. Maybe he's a little ahead. I don't know about this. The Finnish guy that they like here, the Finnish defenseman, how far is he? He played pro hockey in Finland, but that's a long way below. I don't know the answer to him. But my point is this. You got a couple guys this year. You need a couple guys you hope are ready next year. One of them will make it. 2-3 years down the road, you need a couple more guys. Not all of them will make it, but if one does, that's enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
A kind of new blood coming in every year, one guy, that's enough to keep your team young. And frankly, that's pretty good development. A new guy every year. Oh boy, most teams don't get that.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. Not a great start for Shane Bieber. Gave up a 2-run shot in the top of the first inning against Houston. Spec, you look ahead to the Oilers and PTOs. When I look at how many forwards they have and really how many defensemen they have, like, do you see anybody on a PTO? No. Like, do you think, Georgiev at all? Would that make sense to you? Or think there's no chance?
I mean, I guess I'd say that, first of all, your first question, forwards, no chance. Their defense is really good. I don't get what we're doing bringing in PTO defensemen. I don't see the point in it. Unless some guy comes out of the trees and is just so unreal, you're like, how did we get him? But when you say Georgiev, I would say to you, I mean, what are we thinking here? Is he going to come in here and we know what Pickard is? There's no questions. We know exactly what Cal Pickard is, right? He's a veteran, solid backup, can play for you, take 4 games off, play the 5th, and give you a good game. So, I mean, frankly, do we think Georgiev is going to take Skinner's job? Or is he going to beat out?
No, I think
what's the point of Georgiev? What's he doing here?
It would only be to challenge, I would think, Calvin Pickard. That's the way I would look at it.
Okay, so I like Calvin Pickard. Calvin Pickard came in the playoffs last year, and didn't he win? What did he win? 2 games for sure, and played killer for 6. Oh, he won. Didn't he play 6 in a row?
Well, he won for the Force 4 against LA. Now the Oilers scored a ton of goals, and Pickard, Skinner, Pickard,
he won.
Fine. Yeah, he won. Yeah, no problem.
So why are we improving on Pickard? Give me a guy that can improve on Skinner, and I open the door and I'll buy him dinner. Let's have that guy in town. I'm not sure why we're trying to improve on Pickard. I'm not sure. Why are we doing that?
Well, you're trying to improve every position of your team if you can, right? If you improve by 2%, that gives your team a little bit better chance. Now, I don't think it's going to be Georgiev. I think they might look at the waiver wire, to be honest. If DiPietro or Dawes make it to the waiver wire, Spec, or even a potential trade in preseason, I won't be shocked by that at all.
I guess. And then, I mean, let's look at the glass half full scenario. So a guy like DiPietro or Georgiev comes in here, they push Pickard out of the job. He comes in, he gets better and better and better. And if Skinner doesn't have the season that you hope he's going to have, this guy's going to walk in and play a bunch of games and be your guy. Is that what we think here?
No, I think you're just looking for competition. Stuart Skinner, I still think they believe is probably their main guy to start. But that doesn't mean that, having a little healthy competition, healthy, not unhealthy, because there can be unhealthy competition at times, depending on, who the personality is and stuff like that. And that's what makes Calvin Pickard extremely valuable. I think is more as his personality as much as his plays. Plays fine. He won games. At the end of the day, all you want is your backup to win games. At times, the save percentage and goals against is kind of irrelevant, especially in the playoff. If you win every game 6-5, who cares as long as you win, right? You play better than the other team's goalie. But in the regular season, you want to steal a few games here or there. Sure, that's fine. But the truth of the matter is, I think you're just looking for a little bit of competition.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it. I hear you.
Do they have a third string goalie? What if Stuart Skinner gets hurt the first month of the season, Spec? You do have to look at depth organizationally too.
Yeah. So let's say you bring in one of these 2 guys. Let's say you bring in Georgiev. He's not going to the minors. So you better send Pickard to the minors for that exact scenario in case you get a goalie hurt.
Yeah.
And now you can say to yourself that, boy, is our goalie depth ever awesome, because we got an NHL backup playing in sitting down in Baco. So I get that. That makes sense. And frankly, if you're going to hire this new goalie, whatever his name is, for the same thing Pickard's making for $1 million, that makes sense. I get that. Let's let's see what happens from here. But I understand where you're coming from here.
Yeah. Spec, we'll let you get back. I'm sure your buddies want to see a real score, not a fake par. So we'll let you get back to the course so they can take your money. And we will chat with you tomorrow.
Thanks, Jay.
So Mark Spector, the Spector Board, brought to you by GS Construction. I don't think it's a big negative to look and say, hey, now Matt Tompkins, someone say, hey, maybe he's their guy, but he doesn't have a ton of NHL experience. And when you look at the number 3 goalie around the NHL, There are lots of teams that are looking at it. There's wear and tear. Now, next year, in a weird way, it might not be as important because next season they're going to come in and you're going to have that third goalie that you can have, and they come in just for practices and different things, and so that's where there's less wear and tear on your starters. So he doesn't take as many shots in practice. Whereas, I remember talking to Calvin Pickard. He says, I take way more shots in practice and have way more wear and tear on my equipment and my body in practice than I do in a game. Like, you think about it, you might get 25 to 35 shots, depending on the night. There's the odd time you get more, right? But that's it. You look in practice, man, you're getting, in the first 50 minutes, you probably had 30 shots for goalies. So it's definitely more wear and tear there. When we come back, do you get too excited, too nervous, or is patience the key to success? Find out next. Put your GM skills on the front burner. The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk. God said, I need somebody to get up before dawn, milk cows, work all day in the fields, milk cows again, eat supper, go to town, and stay all night at a meeting of the school board. So God made a farmer.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. We are so thankful God made a farmer. For the month of September, it is our goal to feed 500 families. With every vehicle sold, we will feed a family of 4. So please help us reach our goal. Visit us online at northgategm.com.
Ah, Hawaii. The warmth of a golden sunset as the waves roll in. The freshness of a waterfall. The lush scent of tropical flowers in the air. You don't need to travel to enjoy all Hawaii has to offer. You just need to order pizza. Bring Hawaii home with the Aloha Trio, available for a limited time at Papa John's. Try our classic Hawaiian, Super Hawaiian, or Hawaiian barbecue chicken for just $19.99 each. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
When you have lifting and material handling needs, Northwest Crane delivers. Western Canada's Sandy dealer, backed by the industry's toughest one. 3 years, 3,000 hours, no compromises. They service all crane makes and models with skilled technicians and deep industry expertise. Alberta owned with locations in Leduc and Grand Prairie and fully equipped service trucks. Northwest Crane keeps your operation lifting. For more information on sales or service, visit northwestcrane.com or call today.
Listen up, because you're not going to want to miss this. Right now is your chance to get in on Play Alberta's biggest offer ever. For a limited time only, new players can get up to a $1,000 casino bonus when they sign up. There's never been a better time to join the fun. Visit playalberta.ca today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
There's something we need to talk about. Debt. It's an uncomfortable topic, but the truth is, most of us carry some form of debt, and we are ashamed to talk about it. My name is Parveen Middleton, a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. Every day, people struggling with debt come to me for a solution. When you make that call, I'll listen to your story without judgment and will lead you to a debt-free future. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to learn more.
$1 plus tax for a smooth, small premium roast coffee at McDonald's? That means rich, full-bodied flavor at a price that's just as satisfying. Must be McCafe. Enjoy a small McCafe premium roast coffee for just $1 plus tax at participating McDonald's in Canada. Prices exclude delivery.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Did you know that Japa offers in-house and on-site heavy equipment service? Rain or shine, Japa's service department is here for you. Visit japamachinery.com for all the details.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
As well as sports1440.ca, and of course, live on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, Sports 1440, as well as Oilers Nation. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching as you make your way home. Also, it looks like, according to Jeff Merrick, the Brantford Bulldogs are going to get Vladimir Jervecki going to be coming and signing and playing in the CHL this year. So good. He'll be playing with Benek and Adam Jurasek, both drafted from Minnesota and St. Louis. So loading up on some good European young players for Brantford, the CHL. And the reason I mention that is because everybody always talks about the kids who leave. There's lots of kids that are coming to the CHL as well. Now, let's get to our the fantasy report now. Here on Sports 1440 as we are joined talking all things fantasy football, because it's the first weekend, and this is where maybe some bad decisions can be made. A little bit of overreaction. Tom Rowley joins us from Sirius XM and Fantasy Points. And Tom, I think probably the best thing for a lot of people is now it's serenity now a little bit. You can overreact a lot of the times, especially in how you use your FOB dollars if you're in a league with money. What's your strategy? Because I get it. Sometimes there's a big free agent, especially if you're in a guillotine league. There can be some big ones. I know a lot of people say, well, strategically, you should save it. But like, what if you have like a star guy who comes available? Like Connor Halley was telling me in their league, Jaden Daniels is suddenly available now. How far would you go in?
In a guillotine league like that, I'm always aiming to try to get these really top end players. So I know like Tamar Chase had a really bad week. He was the first overall pick. Jaden Daniels, as you said, if he's available, I'm always a little bit more aggressive in those type of league formats. If I can get one of those like top 3, top 5 players at the end. But this week in a general league, I'm usually pretty aggressive early in the season. I think people can tend to be a little too conservative, and then they're sitting with so much fab left over later in the season. But quite honestly, this week, we usually see better options off the waiver wire in week 1, and it's kind of a little bit light here heading into week 2. There's not that many great options. So I think the best approach actually is probably to be a little bit more conservative, maybe pick your spots, spend maybe 10 to 15% of your fab, try to get some of these guys that had bigger roles than we kind of anticipated coming into the season. But there's no real spots, especially we see it running back usually, a guy that maybe surprises or an injury, but we didn't really have that coming out of week 1. So I think this is a good time to kind of be a little bit more conservative on the waiver wire this week.
Yeah, the running back position especially. There's very few guys like Jacob Sailors or Kenneth Gainwell. That's probably where you're going. Yep. There's not a lot of guys at all. The receiver is just because there's more receivers, and Quentin Johnson, I'm sure, is a guy that a lot of players are going to go after. What about the Keyshawn Butt in New England? How high are you on him?
Keyshawn Booty, he's very intriguing. He had a very strong end of the season, but last season it was kind of under the radar a little bit. He got a little bit more playing time and took advantage of it. But he didn't. He was one of the guys here. Fantasy is so well covered, and these teams are so well covered. It's really hard to find sleepers in this day and age, especially with so much news and information at our fingertips all the time. But Keyshawn Booty is one of these players that kind of really flew under the radar this summer. Comes out, he's the number 1 wide receiver in New England right away here. Plays the most snaps, leads them in receptions and receiving yards. So it was a bit of a surprise here. A lot of people were going after Stephon Diggs and Demario Douglas, but Booty is he's a relatively young player here, just 23 years old. He was at LSU with Malik Neighbors and all these, Brian Thomas, all these stud receivers that are now currently in the NFL. And he was kind of the guy. And he had a really rough final season there, didn't test well at the combine, and had a really slow start to his career. But it seems like he may have found something here. And he's, I use Yahoo, sites for my waiver wire article, and he's only owned in 1% of leagues right now. So I think it's definitely worth looking at him and picking him up. He's available in pretty much every league that is out there. So I think it's worth putting a few bucks on him and seeing if this turns into something. I do expect like Stephon Diggs is in New England. He's coming off an ACL injury, so I do think they're going to ramp him up a little bit as the season goes along. But maybe Kayshon Boutte can be a strong number 2 next to him in an offense that actually threw it a lot more than we were anticipating in week 1.
Well, we got a few questions coming in about defenses. And are you a believer in the Colts, especially when they're going up against Denver this week?
I would pump the brakes on that, although Bo Nix did not play very well in week 1. He did come, he had a very strong rookie season, but he is good about not turning the ball over, not taking sacks, and we're always looking for that in fantasy. So that Dolphins team, it looks like they could be a mess here. That might end up being a team when we're streaming defenses. We might end up looking to stream against the Miami Dolphins quite a bit this season. So that's one I'd actually, move away from. But I would look for, some teams that are a little less owned, maybe like the Los Angeles Rams. They're 28% owned in Yahoo leagues. They played really well against Houston in week 1. And now they get that matchup against the Tennessee Titans. Cam Ward's the number 1 overall pick, but he struggled a little bit in his first start. Took a lot of sacks, 6 sacks, I believe, against Denver. And, he put some balls up for grabs. So that might be a defense to look at that's, relatively lightly owned in Yahoo fantasy leagues.
Looking at a few of the other players, obviously, like you mentioned Jamar Chase, but, Cincinnati's going to bounce back. However, their O-line looked awful, or either Cleveland Browns' defensive line is off the charts good. But is there any concern at all about Cincinnati's big guys simply because their O-line looked that weak?
I'm not hitting the panic button just yet. They do in Cleveland there. They have Myles Garrett, the best defensive lineman in the league, and they do have a pretty good defensive front. But this has kind of been Cincinnati's MO here the last couple of years with Joe Burrow, is they get off to these really slow starts, and then they kind of get it going towards the end of September. So they tried to play, more of their starters during the preseason to kind of get them more reps and get them up to game speed quicker here in early September. And it didn't really work here in week 1, but I wouldn't be hitting the panic button just yet with them. There's too much talent on that offense. And also looking at their defense, it's going to be one of the league's worst. So I'm expecting them to play in a lot of high scoring games, a lot of shootouts. And we're always looking for those kind of atmospheres when we're, playing fantasy. So I do expect the Bengals to bounce back.
Tom Brawley joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show from Sirius XM Fantasy and Fantasy Points. Tom, just looking at the tight end position, a lot of owners kind of nervous right now with Brock Bowers' injury and then George Kittle. If you're looking at the waiver wire for some guys who might be available going into week 2, anyone standing out to you?
We'll go back to Cleveland here. Harold Fannin, Bowling Green player, coming from a small school, 3rd-round pick. So, he wasn't like this highly coveted player, but the Browns have been in absolute love with him all training camp long. And, people didn't really draft him, even in like deeper leagues, because they have David Njoku, they have Jerry Jeudy, they have Cedric Tillman, but they came out in that week 1 game and threw him 3 passes. He took a wildcat snap and, they featured him as a runner. So they were trying to get this guy involved right away. They view this guy as a weapon, not necessarily as a tight end. And Kevin Stefanski, he comes from a background where he's not afraid to use two tight ends on the field quite a bit. So this looks like something that could last in Cleveland, even though David Njoku is there. And there's also, David Njoku that, the Cleveland Browns are trying to, pick high in the draft next year. They want to get a lot of draft picks. This is a team that's going to be near the bottom of the standings. So there's a chance that he gets traded, by the trade deadline in early November. So I wouldn't be surprised if they move on from him. He's in the last year of his contract. But looking down the board a little bit more, we were talking about Kayshon Boutte, 1% owned right now in Yahoo leagues. Another guy that's 1% owned, so he's literally available in every league out there, is Juwan Johnson from the New Orleans Saints. Foster Moreau and Taysom Hill are both on the PUP list here to start the season. So the Saints, and under new head coach Kellen Moore, they played him 99% of the snaps in week one, which, just doesn't happen a lot. Guys need breathers. And so for a guy to play 99% of the snaps, we track it over at Fantasy Points data. We track like expected fantasy points, and he actually led the position in expected fantasy points last week. So, the numbers are looking great for him. Going to have a huge role. You worry about the offense in general in New Orleans. Spencer Rattler is a young guy. They're supposed to be one of the worst teams, but Kellen Moore, I'll say for his part, he's one of the better offensive minds, and they play with a lot of pace. They're getting a lot of plays off. So there's probably going to be more passing attempts coming from them. So if you want to, look down your board there a little bit, Juwan Johnson's coming off a good game, really strong role in week one. And he's going to be available in your leagues.
I don't know how many people would have been starting Aaron Rodgers going into week one, but obviously he pops off with 4 touchdowns, leading the league right now. Do you think he's a guy who can keep that going with the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I'm a Steelers fan. I was pleasantly surprised by the performance in the season opener there, but I'm still a little bit skeptical that they're going to keep it up here. This is a team that wants to, kind of run the ball a little bit more. Defense kind of put them in, it was their special teams actually put them in a pretty good spot. They had a kick return fumble that they were able to get, and it led to a really easy touchdown. They were put in some advantageous spots, and he took advantage of it. That's what you want from your veteran quarterback. But I worry about it continuing forward here. And for fantasy, we're always looking for these guys that can run a little bit to supplement their passing, and it's easier to score points as a runner than as a passer. So, and Aaron Rodgers is not going to do that this year. He's a 40-something-year-old quarterback, had an Achilles injury a couple of years ago, so he's not going to really run that much. So I'm gonna, if I'm in a 1 quarterback league, I'll be leaving him on the waiver wire. If you play in a 2 QB league or a super flex type of format, he's certainly worth adding in those. Maybe he can play as your second quarterback. He's going to be in that like 20 to 25 quarterback range, I would think, for fantasy this year.
It is early. It's only 1 week, and I'm sure Tom will be doing this for a long time. So, it's hard. You don't want to make any early predictions, but sometimes you look and say, maybe what I saw, this is something. Kenneth Walker Jr., any concern? When you look at, how basically it was a 50-50 split, Charbonnet had more success and got the red zone carry. What do you make of that? Or is it because he was coming off an injury and maybe they're just being a little cautious?
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned. As somebody that we were, kind of high on Kenneth Walker this year, and he started to miss some practice time in training camp. They were kind of holding him out, and it seemed like the coaching staff warmed up to Zach Charbonnet here. So it's looking like it could be a little bit of a 2-man committee here in Seattle moving forward. And it was notable that Zach Charbonnet also got the goal line opportunity.
Yes.
Scored the rushing touchdown. So I do think Walker probably still holds the advantage in the passing game, but I was hoping in that Clint Kubiak system. It's going to be a little bit more run heavy, a little more run focused. That he had some, top 12 upside as a potential RB1, but after watching this backfield in week one, I'm a little bit concerned. But it's also one of those situations. I wouldn't be selling him right now if you're panicking a little bit. I think you're selling at the lowest point here. I would stay calm. Continue to hope things get a little bit better. Maybe he gets healthier. The offensive line continues to be an issue in Seattle, but they're learning a new system, so maybe the offensive line starts to improve a little bit. And we should find out a little bit about this Seattle offense. They're going against the Steelers this week, who were absolutely gashed by the Jets last week. So they should have more success on the ground this week.
Lastly, is there any players you look at that you are high on, and all of a sudden, I know it's early in the season, but now you have a little cause for concern?
Ooh, Kenneth Walker would have been near the top of that list. Nobody that's really coming to the top of my brain here.
Okay.
Like AJ Brown, I would think that, stay calm with that situation. I bet he gets fed this week. So, nobody that's really, I am a little bit worried about Nico Collins. That the Texans offensive line looked a little bit rough, and, the Rams were kind of bracketing Nico Collins a little bit. So I am a little bit concerned about that situation.
Oh, okay. One to watch for. Love it. Well, great stuff, Tom. We really appreciate that. And we'll have you on again soon. Have a great day. Enjoy the week.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Tom Broly joining us from SiriusXM and Fantasy Points. As it is, you don't want to overreact, but I think if there's good guys available and you think you can get them, too often you come down to week 13, you've got all of your fab dollars. Well, what's the point then? So there's later in the year, it's harder to find good free agent players. So Guillotine League, totally different because you get good player every week. So that's the different strategy. We'll come back, wrap things up in a busy Tuesday edition of the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Better odds, better look, easier access on the web and on the app at PlayAlberta.ca.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada with sports and entertainment properties, including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League's Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, is open in Nisku, which features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area.
And here comes Action Electrical Service Team sprinting onto the scene. These are your first responders for any electrical emergency.
That's right. With their fleet of service vans and specialized gear, they assess, they service, and maintain electrical lighting and automation systems. They're all about rapid response.
Quick diagnostics and repairs to restore power and safety fast. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
It's the Brick's famous tent sale. Save up to 60% off clearance items in the tent and store, with more amazing deals arriving daily in every department. Like up to $1,800 off power reclining sectionals and up to $700 off big screen TVs. Buy more, save more when you buy 2 or more major appliances, up to $1,000 off. Plus, get a free Bluetooth party speaker when you spend $9.99 or more on furniture. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
$1 plus tax for a smooth, small premium roast coffee at McDonald's? That means rich, full-bodied flavor at a price that's just as satisfying. Must be McCafe. Enjoy a small McCafe premium roast coffee for just $1 plus tax at participating McDonald's in Canada. Prices exclude delivery.
They sure saw you coming. You went in for about $200 in auto service, and by the time Johnny Slick out front was done telling you everything he thought you should have replaced, you got hosed for $3,000. Big Toy Shop won't lie to you, inflate your bill, or waste your time. You'll know exactly what your service actually costs and when it's going to be done. Take your ride to Big Toy Shop, 8315 Argyle Road, 780-298-2797.
There's something we need to talk about: debt. It's an uncomfortable topic, but the truth is, most of us carry some form of debt, and we are ashamed to talk about it. My name is Parveen Middleton, a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. Every day, people struggling with debt come to me for a solution. When you make that call, I'll listen to your story without judgment and will lead you to a debt-free future. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to learn more.
Oh, mama, I'm in fear for my life from the long arm of the law.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Also, a variety of excellent non-alcoholic options. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.543, we continue on. Gregor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you're having a lovely Tuesday. Jays and Houston going at it tonight. Also, Aaron Judge is at a home run for the Yankees. That is his 44th. And I think he passed Yogi Berra on the all-time home run list for the Yankees. Moving on up. Yes, so he is now 5th all time with 359 round trippers. Probably going to get to 500, I would think, Cons. Decent chance.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt him. That's for sure.
Yeah, like not all time. And hey, what about Justin Verlander? Do you guys know where he ranks all time in strikeouts in MLB history?
Top of my head, no. Pretty high up there, though.
Well, he just passed Gaylord Perry. He is now 8th. But if you look at it, like he's 8th, and but he's pitched about 1,500 fewer innings than a lot of the other guys in front, and he's 42. Like he's pitched a lot, right? It's just a different era where guys don't pitch as frequently as the other guys. But he comes back next year, and all the talk is he wants to. He's currently 8. He's going to have a chance to be 5th all time, which is pretty damn remarkable. But when you look at and you look at not only his strikeouts, when you look at his strikeouts for innings pitched, that is what's super impressive. Basically over a strikeout per inning, which is pretty darn good. Hey guys, I'm a Stuart Skinner supporter. Hypothetically, would Stuart get through waivers from Nick? Nick, are you serious? Come on, man. Not in a second. He makes $2.6 million. He's 26 years of age. What are you talking about? Of course he would get claimed in a heartbeat. There'd be teams lining up to do it. It's a great value contract for a guy who's been in back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. Doesn't mean perfect. Neither is the team. I think people are, everybody gets mad and you want someone to blame because you feel like, well, if I can put all my anger and disappointment onto one person, somehow it'll be better. And I don't think that's necessarily the case. So, no, I wouldn't do it. Well, they're never going to do it. No, just put them on waivers. There's no chance. No chance. Hey, guys. I know that we're in Edmonton and have nothing against the Oilers, but McDavid could have had the best playoff up until last series, but 2 years in a row he's lost. What happens if you get there 3 times and lose again? Jack Eichel, Stanley Cup champion. Nathan McKinnon, champion. When it is so-called best player in the world, going to win the big one. Even Kachuk has more Stanley Cups now, from Jimmy. Well, I've always said this, Jimmy. Teams win Stanley Cups, not individual players. You need a good team, and you need a lot of other elements to win. It's that simple. So, you know what? The Oilers, really, if you go back to that 2024 Stanley Cup, Bobrovsky definitely stole game, was it 1 or 2? I think it was game 1. And, that'll happen, right? Edmonton came back and, we're unable to get a goal, right? Like, they only scored 1 goal. It's hard to win a game in the Stanley Cup final if you only score a goal, right? You got to win 1-0. It's pretty hard to do. But I don't know if I'm going to sit here and say that McDavid, wow, these other guys have won and he hasn't. So it's a big concern. It's 10 years in. He could win 2 cups in the next 5 years. Would anybody be shocked if that was the case? So no, I don't get it. Hey guys, why not sign and trade McDavid? Put Draisaitl as captain. Trent, come on now. Guys, McDavid, 3 years, $16.75 million at some point during the season. That's very possible. Very possible. I do think your term is probably, I think it'll be a shorter term deal. I'd be surprised if he's 5+ years at this point. So, I guess he could, but if he takes a bigger AAV right away, which he would be more than worthy of getting, that in itself, because in the cap era, that lowers your chances of winning. So, I think you have to consider every scenario when you look at the Connor McDavid situation. I think you have to look at the fact that Connor McDavid might just sign a 2-year deal at 15 maybe, because he's like, hey, you know what? We have a little bit more room. I'm making more than enough money. Still be the highest paid player at the time. It's no big deal. I don't think he gets that wrapped up in needing to be the highest paid player, to be honest. I don't think, well, I would hope not, because at the end of it doesn't really matter. Right? Who's the highest paid player in Major League Baseball? Well, I guess Shohei 20. That's too simple. What a stupid question. But if you look at from year to year, it changes all the time in the NBA and in the NFL. This guy's the highest paid D lineman, this guy's the highest paid O lineman, this guy's the highest paid receiver, yada yada. It just goes and goes because it changes every year with the salary cap going up significantly there. So I really don't think it matters if you're the highest. No one at the end of this, hey, this guy, who made the most money in their career in the NHL? I don't know the answer. I'm not sure anybody does. Who's made the most money in their NHL career? Honestly, I don't know. It's going to be someone from the 2000s just because of the money. Right? Is it Ovechkin to date? I'll have to ask Puckpedia. That's a good question. I don't really know, but I don't think it matters. Right? So no one ever ranks you that way. So I think you have to look at every possible scenario for Connor McDavid. 1 year would seem odd to me, but 2 years, 3 years, AAV, maybe a little bit lower than you expected, maybe a little bit higher expected, maybe it's just right, maybe it's the 3 Bears, I don't know, but it could sign in October, it might not sign until February, right? That's the thing. And I the one thing that I really respected about McDavid's response was he said, hey, their job to ask the question, it's our job to play hockey. If you get worried or distracted because someone's asking about a contract, maybe you're in the wrong business. And it's 100% true. It just is. Like the other players on the team, the Connor McDavid's contract shouldn't impact them whatsoever. Right? It's not. So, hey guys, are fans under the impression the Cup's easy to win? Getting there is hard enough over winning. I don't think McDavid blames everyone but himself for winning the last couple of years. From BG. Yeah, he's frustrated, sure. I really, it'd be interesting to say, do you ever think of it as a blame thing, or is it just a frustration thing? Because I could see it, as a player, you know what, we would have won if this guy did it. But then you look and say, well, did I do my job perfectly every game? So that's why it's more like, man, we just unfortunately didn't get it done. And that makes it challenging. Hey, guys, just give him a blank check and whatever he wants, fill in from Padam, from Tamarack. Well, I don't think you're far off. Right? I really don't think the AAV is going to be that difficult of a negotiation. Most people said, it's 16. Well, if it's 17, no one's going to blink an eye. The Oilers, they want McDavid. And if it takes that much, they would sign him. Knowing that it would lower his and their chances of winning. That's just how it is, right? The more money one individual takes, because McDavid can only play 22, 23 minutes a night in the playoffs, unless there's overtime. So you need quality players for those other 38 minutes, right? You just do. So that's what'll make it fun. But I think we could probably make a deal on our show. We would all do every few weeks kind of dig into something if there's anything new. I don't think it'll be overly new, but it's definitely not something that every day I think is worth it for the fans or anybody to discuss. Like, what's the update? I guess we could. Connor McDavid update. Do. Nothing. Like, I guess we could have fun with it and maybe do it here. So we'll see. Hey guys, I'm curious. What do you think that MLSE and Bills partnership means? That's a good question. Cons, what do you think? I think it's probably good for football, no question, right? Because the Argos, the CFL, I still think is good. It always irks me when people kind of look down their nose at the CFL, like somehow they're above it. I've never understood that attitude in any walk of life, but definitely when it comes to sports, that you think is below you. If you don't like it, great, but it ain't below you. What's your athletic endeavor so strong that you can be like, those guys aren't worth my time? Like, I don't know about now. If you just say, you know what, it's not my thing, that's totally fine. Some people don't like lacrosse. Some people don't like the NHL. Some people don't like the NBA. Some people don't like the WNBA. It's fine, but then just you don't have to talk derogatory about it.
Yeah, it's I don't know, kind of a tiresome subject for me. I think for me, just probably partnerships, doing camps, having both sides of the border interrupted, having some Bills probably go up. Guy like Josh Palmer, who's from the Toronto area, now playing with the Bills.
Yeah,
get him out at some football camps. I think it's just good for everybody, grows their brands, and let's face it, probably benefits them financially.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely going to be some financial benefit. No question there. What a busy Tuesday, man. That was awesome. Hope you enjoyed it. If you missed any part of the show, every interview is at jasongregor.com and anywhere where you get your podcast. Or if you even want to watch the show, you can on our YouTube channel. Check it out at Sports 1440. Be sure when you're there to hit the subscribe button. We'd love it. We'd thank you very much. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Harley-Davidson of Edmonton on the Yellowhead Trail. Locally owned and operated by the Kent family and celebrating 45 years. Big sports fans as well. Harley-Davidson of Edmonton, Yellowhead Trail. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
NHL Deputy Commissioner Bill Daly told reporters today that the league has closed their investigation into Evander Kane, spending last season on the LTIR and not returning into the playoffs with the Oilers. With that, Daly said the Oilers will not face any discipline in it. Major League Baseball, Jays in action right now, trailing the Astros 2-0 in the top of the third. Elsewhere, Cubbies up on the Braves 2-0. Phillies beat the Mets by a score of 4-0. Marlins trail the Nationals 5-1, and the Guardians have a 2-0 lead over the Royals in the sixth. Later tonight, Rangers host the Brewers. Twins in Anaheim to get the Padres taking on the Reds. Cards and Mariners. Red Sox travel to Sacramento, and the Dodgers host the Rockies. Toronto Argonauts head coach Ryan Dinwiddie said today at practice that quarterback Nick Arbuckle will get the start against the Elks this weekend. Chad Kelly had been activated from the 6-game IL, but it remains unclear if he'll dress for the game. And the Canadian men's soccer team defeating Wales 1-0 earlier today in an international friendly. Tara Cornelius scoring the lone goal for the Canadians at the 41st minute mark. In the WNBA tonight, 5 games on the schedule. Right now, Liberty lead the Mystics 41-26 at halftime. At the end of the first, Fever have a 28-14 lead over the Lynx. Later tonight, you got the Aces and Sky, the Sparks in Phoenix, and the Storm hosting the Valkyries. That's going to do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, we got Fox Sports Radio all night long. Live coverage resumes tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. with Kevin Carius here on Sports 1440 and our YouTube channel, Sports 1440 AM. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.